impact players here, but your 5-star lineup is just this good. And also Lucas has been able to step up in a more fragger-heavy role, and we've seen that that's really paid off. He's winning so many, if not basically all of his 1v1s, and also doing multiple like clutches where he's getting 1v2, 1v3 duns, just like Xiao Wu did in this game here versus United.
Yeah. All right, well, I actually heard we got a chance to check in with the teams that are performing at their best. Let's go over to Sam to hear a little bit more.
Most of the fans have left the fan zone because they're heading to the stage because we are, of course, getting ready to start day 3 of the grand finals. But Bolot over here, I pulled him aside before he went in because I wanted to chat to you. You were busy playing a stack of PUBG just now, right here in the fan zone. Are you a big fan of PUBG?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of PUBG, and I like the team Navi, exactly. So it's like, I think that it's the best team here, and I just hope that they will win here.
They're currently sitting in 4th place. Uber is one of my favorite players. He's obviously playing, he's fragging off. How good are you at PUBG?
I can't say that I'm good at PUBG, but I'm just trying once or twice a week, just play something to improve my skills in PUBG, exactly.
So you're going to be watching the professionals today, getting some tips?
Yes.
You said to me this is your first time here at PGC, so what are you looking forward to the most?
To have impression about the game, to have like some memories about this day, because it's like my first day here, and maybe I will go to the final if I have money, of course.
I like that. And then what is your favorite map in PUBG?
Sanok.
Why?
Because it's like a little map, and there are a lot of loot, and I like locations here, and like how can I play it, not just pushing but hiding and something else like this.
Well, I thank you so much for talking to us. I'm going to send you off so you can watch the games. Thank you. Okay. Controversial map opinion there, which was quite funny, but I mean, there you go. So obviously the fans getting ready, getting excited. We got lots of fans here. They're all inside, which is exactly where I'm going to, because I want to catch the action in game number 1.
Well, I've got great news for you. Game number 1 is just about to get underway. I hope that gentleman gets some great memories, and I know 4 gentlemen who will probably be coming away with some big memories is United. This is a very young team. I want to call them the young guns, the future of sort of North American PUBG. Kickstart, the most valuable player in terms of fantasy. I mean, these guys look like they're pretty good.
Look, man, they've been taking it in the pants all year long for multiple years now in the battle against Sonics for first place, right? It's been neck and neck competition, arguments going for both ways, who's the best team in North America, who's the best team, and at the end, it always ends up getting settled by, oh, well, Sonics won PGIS, so therefore they're the best team. Well, now United is posed to make a run here at PGC, so they might be able to shut all those Sonics fans up for good.
Yeah, we'll see. Honestly, I'm excited for United here. One good game for them, and they're straight into it, and they're going to be pretty much tied with the top teams right now. Extremely close. We heard the fan talking a little bit about Navi. They need a couple of good games. They actually fell off a little bit yesterday, even though Example's still sitting very close to 2nd place. I think it's 2 or 3 points to catch up to Kickstart there, right? So Navi with some good games today, and they're going to be able to make it a 4-horse race rather than a 3-1.
You guys have talked about some top teams. In a second, I think they're going to show us the top teams for fantasy here amongst the casting team.
I'm dropping like a rock,
Xenox at 1608. Martin, you are closing the gap rapidly, and I am still beating Poro, which is all that really matters to me in the world.
Remember when I was in first, man?
Yeah, I remember that.
Way back
a couple of days when we were like 2 days deep into the tournament. That was great.
Well,
now,
when grand finals started,
I called 13 games off to Xenox. He's obviously not here, but I'm pretty confident my team.
Well, let's give a big shout out to our caster from down under, who turns out to be on top with his 1608. Let's see as it continues. It is going to be fun. Hope you guys are playing along at home. Let us know what choices are or aren't working out for you. We touched on United a little bit. I think part of the issue that we had on scoring is Kickstart started slow. Flood has been on fire. But Na'Vi yesterday, you brought them up. They were not the Na'Vi we saw on day 1.
No, they tried to fight a lot of fights, and they didn't win as many as they did on day 1 here. The question is, are they going to be able to put themselves into some better spots, a little bit more maybe circle focus rather than fight focus, and maybe a little bit more luck in their case, 1 or 2 circles going their way. That could be a totally different now compared to what we saw yesterday, because they can't continue this. Otherwise, they're going to have, you know, even Yahoo could catch up to them quite easily and take fourth away from them.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. They got caught up in these early game fights, and I don't know whether or not it was on purpose or whether it was just, you know, bad luck during rotations, but they never saw past Circle 4 after game 1 was over. So, like, you got to make it to the late game. That team is so good once they get in those late game situations. We saw in day 1 how they can just kind of shepherd an entire lobby right where they need them to be. And as he said, example, one of the best there is out there. So I'm hoping to see Navi kind of pick it back up today.
So I'm going to pivot away from a team talk for just a second because I have a question. It's a simple question. We watched all of the players in the gun quizzes before the game today, and they knew every game or every gun. They've clearly used them all.
Nuts.
But when I watched them play, I even asked, I asked 17 across the board, hey, what guns do you choose? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. Every one of them seems to use the barrel. Tell me what it is about this gun in particular that is dominating PGC 2022.
So especially for LAN, right? It is the best gun when you're coming. Also, it's most available in terms of the AUG and the Groza that you have in the crates only. But it's the best gun in terms of close quarters combat. One of the fastest guns to kill. Time to kill is super fast on it. And yes, you maybe can't hit as much when you're shooting at cars, but it's not their focus. They're going to take out their minis. They're going to take out their SLRs. See, even, you know, when they're, you know, doing drive-bys and so forth, they're even taking out the mini and the SLR, shooting them on the higher ranges. So they're much more focused on those really close quarters fights to win those, because you will almost always win a barrel versus an M4.
On land, 7.62 superior.
Makes sense. Well, we're going to see a lot of barrels, but I can also tell you that we are going to see some amazing PUBG, and we're going to get it started right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for day 3 of PGC 2022.
在本次 PGC 如果能夺冠的那支队伍，它首先是一支状态起伏不大的队伍。我认为我们队伍很有机会。
На первый день мы заняли 3-е место. По результатам второго дня мы находимся на 2-й строчке общей таблицы. 1-е место наше.
So yesterday we managed to get top 3. I think it feels really good to finally prove ourselves and our ability with all of the competition from around the world. If we keep this up, we are in contention for first place, and every team around us should look out.
第2天当中，我印象最深的应该是属于最后一把。我们当时在一个前边的位置嘛，然后被刷出去之后就很难通过种种努力吧，活到了第2名。不管什么时候，我们永远是对所有队伍最有威胁性的一支队伍。
Из 10 игр мы выиграли 4, и я рад, что мы выиграли игры, которые мы должны были выиграть. Я думаю, что мы готовы выложиться на 3-м дне и показать нашу лучшую игру. Мы будем стараться занять 1-е место.
So the first half of the finals is over, and going to the second half, we're looking to make the stage ours.
我们一定会守住第1名的位置，一定不会放弃夺冠的机会。
Hello, PUBG friends. We are moving into the second half of the PGC Grand Finals. We are, you guys know us at this point. It's too much hair, no hair, and we're going to be looking over a very hairy leaderboard.
Yes, absolutely. This leaderboard is much hairier than I am, and that's okay. That's the way it should be, absolutely. I mean, I think it's, you know, in some ways maybe a 3-horse race at this point. Navi still has a shot, but we need to see Navi kind of spring into action again.
Every single time we think that, it feels like suddenly they manage to step up. And because we were kind of having that conversation yesterday, right? Where it was like, okay, yeah, United's not really in the thick of it, and now they're back into it. I feel like we're starting to see a slide in some cases, though. There's a lot to be looked at here, and specifically, who still has the gas in the tank, or who has at least managed to find like an extra fuel canister and a refill moving into this last half.
Yeah, exactly. You're typically allowed one not-so-great day in an event that's like this. That's 4 days long, 20 games. You can have like one day that you put up not a lot of points, and then you can bounce back, have big days the rest of the days, and still come through with the championship, but that's all you get. You can only have one. That is the minimum.
Whenever we say that, it's like, whenever you're in the top 4, it's like you can have a kind of bad day. Whenever we look at the points per game that some of these teams are putting up at the top, I mean, whenever we're talking about like, oh, 8 points per day is a bad day.
Well, yeah, I mean, 10 points per game is going to put you at least in contention for the championship. Usually, if you're 11 or 12 points per game, you have got it in the bag.
Well, enough of our pretty faces, as we are now going to get everything set up and move into our first game. More and more tension's going to be mounting, and we are going to be going through a ton of action as all sights are now set on that trophy and who can make it in through this first game of Arrogant.
Well, yeah, I mean, you really got to keep your eyes on 17 today. Erangel has been where they have been absolutely dominating this entire event. Not just this entire event, this second half of this year. They have been absolutely just phenomenal on Erangel. Of course, having control over Pachinki, lends it to their ability to kind of get to where they want to go when they want to, ahead of most teams.
Moving into this, I just want to point out, we actually do have a 3-way tie for our top killers. 20 apiece between Soul, Flood, and Lul Ghost.
Yeah, both of them averaging 2.0 kills per game, and Soul got half of those kills in one game.
True,
so
true.
I mean, that
helps.
was pretty insane, and that was pretty nice. Danawa is probably kicking themselves a bit though overall, just with that game yesterday, not quite able to get there, but at the end. But Cerberus, hey, you got to tip your cap to them. Hisaki played the hell out of that ending. That spray transfer he had was absolutely phenomenal. So it is, it's a tough one for Danawa, who's closer to the top, especially at that point in this series. I think they were like 4th or 6th, somewhere in that range. And it doesn't look like we have too much going on. It looks like Twisted Minds.
Car duel still, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Twisted Minds gets one of them, and then Danawa gets another. So this time it's, it's even Steven. Sometimes a car spawns in that garage to the left to Salute. I didn't quite catch if it went there. That is really west.
Yeah, that's about 50% water, and that's going to make this markedly more interesting. We have seen a lot of Western circles, so most of the terrain here should be familiar to everybody and how the rotations are going to come in. This is far, far more compressed, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this one tends to lean more towards those fields or towards the south, but now we have an interview with 17 Gaming's Xiao Wu!
有，可能神秘感还是肯定有的，因为我们这次 PCL 赛区只进了2个队嘛，2个中国队伍嘛。最担心的无非就是交流方面出现障碍吧。我认为只要我们交流好了，都会打得很好的。评价猛，很猛，好吧。因为他现在才打了10把比赛，他已经吃了4把鸡吧。我觉得就是如果让他进了决赛圈的话，他是很大概率会吃鸡的，挺厉害的。第3天肯定是想一直待在第1的，我还想拉点分差呢。然后第4天减少压力吧。
I am more impressed that synergized way better than I was ever
Went pretty
expecting.
Good, yeah.
I know. I'm pretty happy about that one. 17 Gaming, pretty happy still at top of the leaderboard, but they still have some chasers that are after them.
No doubt about it. I mean, this is a really stacked team, of course. One of the big storylines is, this is Show's final act. This is his last event. He wants to go out and finally win a championship, to finally prove, since he's been here, since essentially day one of PUBG Esports, always close but no cigar, and this time around wants to find it. And then, of course, Lil Ghost has been absolutely popping off for them this event. Just a phenomenal individual performance. I mean, someone's going to have to call the Ghostbusters on this guy because he is terrifying.
Oh, man. That's actually a good one there. And here I was going to say the fact that he has a chance of like a full box of cigars, and you hit me with that. All right, so we do have the Expendables doing expendable things, and Phil first, guess what? You're about to potentially feel some bullets coming after you. He's got an idea on what's going to be going on. Question mark is kind of separated over here. The nades are going to come out. Going to get spotted. Shots are going to connect. Phil first is going to go down, and there is our first blood of the day.
Yeah, Phil first opted to try to fight that. He felt the pressure a little bit too much there. I think there's a world where he can get down behind that hill line and get to the cover fire of his teammates on the western coast. Wasn't quite able to get there in time, but that compound is pretty decent to play from, I find, as the game goes on, because you're going to be able to play out to it, and usually there aren't going to be teams that come behind you. You have some cover to work with. You're going to be able to put some pressure on some of those teams that oftentimes tend to get bunched up into that compound where TE just had the fight.
We have the different set of mindsets coming into a very horrific circle, as early rotators are going to be teams like Danawa and 17 Gaming. We have Na'Vi that's already starting to make their pathing in as well. Looks like Twisted Minds might be starting to prep for it, but our Far Eastern teams, all of them are just like, there's no point. Everybody's going to get there beforehand, so it looks like they're going to be coming in much later, maybe trying to play that edge strategy. That means that we are going to see teams like Cerberus, TMA, Yahoo, Overpeakers, E United all playing an edge strategy. that's going to get violent real quick.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, it just depends on how fast the water gets cut out, right? Like that, you know, the edge teams might have more space than you think, and the center teams might get forced out earlier if it hard shifts down to the south or something like that. I mean, those are all possible, pretty unlikely, but, you know, stranger things have happened, as we saw on the Miramar game, where it ended literally right next to land ratio
The
terrain.
best game ever.
I mean, that was a great game. No, I mean, I absolutely loved it. And, you know, circles here can end really strange. Not the best game, but
I've never seen that circle before, and it made me happy.
it was a really, I've never seen that circle in esports. But, I mean, I think, you know, it can be tough. Sometimes those circles do crazy stuff, and, like, there can be beach endings. I've seen it on this map. I've literally seen a circle end on that peninsula to the west of South George, like all the way out on the edge of it. So, you know, there is those rare games that do like to make an extreme circle.
I do have flashbacks every once in a while to those old school days of PUBG Online, whenever water was still invulnerable and we had those incredible beach fights. The beach fights were always fun. It was the water that was always the problem. It'd be nice maybe to catch some beaches. I know that a couple of our teams were wanting to do that over here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's, you know, again, you'd rather play on the beach end, right? A lot of times, a lot of teams would prefer to do that because you're much more likely to have your backside clear. You can kind of, you know, take the fights that come to you, or take the third parties that come to the other teams, those kind of things. So you're really able to kind of dictate your own pace. And this is a viewing party in Bangkok, Thailand. A lot of big fans in Thailand, as we saw at PNC. We had a great time there. The fans were absolutely incredible.
Yeah, always big fans of any of the events. And yeah, Thailand was so much fun. So big shout out to everybody that is over there right now. And you can see they were all like coordinated and everything else like that. I find it interesting like how different regions all have like their different like celebrations and like little side things that they've got going on. Like I know that the inflatable like sticks, or when popping them together, is getting to be much more common over there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, everywhere in, you know, Asia, Southeast Asia, they got those clappy sticks, whatever you want to call them.
I don't even know what the word for them is. I like them.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, they're wonderful because they make a ton of noise. That's going to be a great pickup here for Twisted Minds for that Groza early on, a team that, you know, obviously I think a lot of people are really eyeing with their 4 wins in 10 games as somebody who maybe should be winning this tournament, you know, and they might be by the end. And putting that into the hands of Lou, you know, is absolutely nuts. You know, he's been incredible so far. He's actually been their top fragger. Now, that being said, Twisted Minds, they're a really well-balanced team in terms of their kills. They might have to defend.
This is a team that
I don't think Cerberus might turn into this if they get shot at.
Yeah, like that's the whole problem is you don't know what Cerberus is going to do. Sometimes they go to the bullets, sometimes they go away from the bullets.
Well, Gakka's open, so
yeah, this is the safe play without a doubt. This does make them actually one of the most eastern teams right now, with the exception of Yahoo, who's still playing east of Everest at the time.
Yeah, I was really hoping that Cerberus wouldn't crash that, because that probably would have been not so great for them in terms of just how good Twisted Minds is. And I want to reiterate, in terms of, you know, their kills per game, their lowest is 1.2, their highest is 1.4. So Spyro and Perfectix averaging 1.2 kills per game, Batulin's 1.3, Lou 1.4. So I mean, in terms of like the total package, like this team has it. They are absolutely just from top to bottom insanely talented, insanely skilled, insanely smart players.
FaZe playing the numbers here. We've seen so many Quarry games. They're going to be pathing into the south. Jokes aside, this is just how FaZe do things. They love these long wraps coming in. They are going to find a pretty open area. They are going to have day trade that's going to probably be about another 500 meters in front of them. There is nobody even close to United right now, so while they are coming in safe, making sure to check every single angle as they come into this one, they still have to the opposite side of Chopsticks before they're probably going to bump into anybody, which would be Cerberus.
Yeah, they got about a kilometer before they run into anybody, so plenty of space for United to kind of just see what's going on around them. I mean, you know, maybe they're going to kind of fan out a little bit here. They have the opportunity to do so. You know, claim some real estate. And there's a real world here where the circle might just really hard shift over towards the land, and, you know, they're just kind of in it for 3 or 4 circles on the edge where they can just vibe, you know, just kind of listen and see what's going on around them and try to make some plays for the later game. And, you know, they were talking today to us, and they were saying, like, yeah, we got some circles in the early game yesterday, but the later game, you know, we really had to fight for things, and we didn't, you know, maybe live up to the expectations we wanted to.
Okay, so all this is going on. We've got TM that's starting to push up onto Everest. It looks like they're getting aggressive into Yahoo, but also TMA is going to be running right up next to Wildcard, who's holding down south of Georgia Pole. So with the shots exchange, it looks like they're going to step back down this one. Yeah, no real reason to be aggressive yet, as Lord knows where the math is going to go inside the circle. It looks like TMA does at least get by on the first part. Cal, about to have some friends following him back behind this one. Is he going to take any shots? Now he's going to open up and not going to be able to do enough to stop.
Yeah, it's tougher to spray the vehicles with the barrel. You know, we've talked about, and I think the Deaths did a great job highlighting this, the difference between the barrel and the M4, why some players prefer one or the other. You know, for spraying down vehicles, the M4 is the superior gun because of the tighter spray control.
Oh,
Matt.
What?
Matt, we might be going there. Where TMA is, circles can end there. It happens.
Yep. All right, it is time to just go absolutely wild. We're going to have a major press in. It's going to go full on Mad Max. Everybody is hopping inside their vehicles, and it is time to get to Georgia Pool as fast as humanly possible. Everybody is playing down in the south of it, and there is some of North Georgia that's in play, but everybody knows that this is probably going to lean into the south, so we're going to start to see a lot of people crashing into buildings, trying to compress in. We might even see a couple of teams that are playing out on the edge just say, there is no way I can make this work. It's time to just start getting some kills.
Yeah, Helen's going to light up some crossing members of Na'Vi along with Lambu here for Donawa. Not really doing a ton of damage. Vehicle damage mostly what's coming through here. There is going to be a run over off screen. Helen able to connect a couple shots, hit FaZe right behind Na'Vi as they cruise down the beach. Now there is a hill.
Oh my God.
They're just running each other over. Oh my God.
This is just massive. There's just bodies littering everywhere. Trying to roll into this one. It looks like Daytrade is trying to stabilize, but it's going to be Danoa that gets vision into it. Spray's going to be popping off. Now just trying to move away. We're already down to 54 people, and we're just in circle 2.
Yeah, Soul's got to be so careful there. He almost got knocked for reaching out, for going for those grenades. Now some counter grenades coming towards Salute, and I think Donawa would be wise here to back off of this fight and maybe start thinking about trying to regroup with their other two members north sooner rather than later. Aduzi and others now, QM getting involved, working into this TE mess.
Late rotator is going to be very, very beneficial in this situation. E United is going to be coming in, finding an open compound just to the south of Everest, actually to the west of Everest, my apologies on that one, as we still see the continued rain of grenades and firefighting going on. FaZe to get into position that's going to be just to the west of where we saw TMA stop and the location that you were talking about, Paper, so this could be good. Now they just have to figure out, make sure that they survive, as there's going to be a weak Na'Vi looking in on this one. Danoa that might also be able to get some angles, and TMA so close. FaZe has got to play this one super safe.
Yeah, TMA has the opportunity there to reach out and go for some frags, see if they can get some knocks. Overpeakers is going to find Sparking out in the open in South George. Now this is a pub lobby inside of South George. At this point, everybody's just going to be scrapping and fighting, trying to get out of this alive. But TMA, there, because they control the compound on both sides of the road, they're able to reach out relatively safely to try to go for that hill. Now, there's a hill on the other side where FaZe is, and that is a very powerful position if this keeps shifting west.
Yeah, this is just not going to go Yoho's favor. They're going to go ahead and get eliminated. 13 teams, and we aren't even in circle 3 yet.
I'm telling you, this can end right on FaZe. I mean, with the way that this shifted already.
I'm not even making a prediction. Usually I like to kind of throw my hat in the ring.
I've seen it, man.
I have no idea. I'm just going to say, why not the bridge at this point?
I've been there. I'm having flashbacks. I think it was PUBG Charity Showdown, or PCS Charity Showdown, I think, is when it happened.
I love the fights around those hills up there, though. That little peninsula, or whatever you want to say, is lit that's sticking out, so we'll have to see how that goes. Question mark still playing to the south, and we have E United that's going to be playing to the east. And this is just, I want to see this one closer. Just
he just hit him with the
just rolls in. I mean, this. What do you even do in a situation like this?
I mean, it's just whoever can react better. I mean, it's just, that's all this is. This is all just instinct and, you know, raw mechanics.
The only thing that wins here is car damage numbers.
That's, yes. Unfortunately, those don't add to your actual damage numbers, so I don't think they do.
I don't think that that's fair.
I tend to agree.
At least we should count cars as their own independent entity then, and see how they end up on the damage charts.
Matt, it's doing it. We're going to that peninsula. I can't believe I said it at the beginning. I'm like, yeah, I saw a game go here once.
Good. That means the fact that we're in for a continued press as everybody is. We can hear the audience just audibly, just like, oh my God, players, everyone, they know this is just going to get more and more hellacious for these teams. Now, our teams are kind of fortified up in Georgia Pool right now, and our edge teams are going to have to compress in more. And the more this continues to move into that one spot you're talking about, means the fact that this edge play is just getting more and more troublesome.
Yeah, and 17 Gaming is a good spot here if they can lock the hospital down. There are avenues to breach the hospital, but teams have figured out pretty good ways to lock it down for the most part. So now, you know, United trying to, you know, keep their flanks clear, do some damage to Entropic. Entropic gonna do a little in return. Twisted Minds just trying to get as close to this road towards this western edge as they can, because they know, there's a decent chance that this is going to end up over in that area. So good job by Twisted Minds. The fact that they get there relatively unscathed is huge. They have made a really smart, really well-timed rotation.
I do want to point out Overpeakers pretty much has all of the north to themselves, and this is a team that really can handle a lot of very weird situations. So this might be an environment in which they can absolutely thrive. So if you've got your map open, make sure you're keeping an eye on how Overpeakers is going to be playing this one, because you know, Clib's driving around. Whenever you got Clib in a car, you talk about it all the time, Paper Thin, he can pop off, and there's going to be a lot of driving potential.
Yeah, all he needs is a car and an M4, and he's good to go. Lukaruk's going to be priming a grenade here at EU, but it doesn't look like that one's going to be anywhere near anybody as they have pulled up into the open compounds. Lukaruk's all on his own right now. The rest of Entropic is kind of driving around scattered. I think they're trying to figure out how to handle this.
Well, they also have Naileup that's ahead of them, and there's 17 Gaming that's taking shots into United. So this has just led to an awkward fight for everybody that's involved in this situation. Looks like Entropic is just going to move to the west and try to get around. Lukarux did get the knock, and there's a flush on Rello, but that's this is just harder and harder to deal with the longer this goes, because 17 is still just taking peppering shots.
I just love what Lukarux is doing here, trying to get an unexpected angle, but he's caught by Flood.
Red.
He looked away just at the wrong moment. Flood caught him out in the open. Soul with the M24, trying to find some damage into that fight over with Entropic, and a United QM still being boxed out by Donawa. Donawa's a really good position to gatekeep this.
Soul's got some, I guess, he's got some goals right now. He's got himself that multi lined up. Question Mark's got some goals as well, and they're trying to dethrone this position. Moving in, it is just not working out too well. Danawa's doing a great job on holding up, defending this hillside. They do have Entropic that's just going to be to the east of them, playing the opposite section of this hill, but it's going to be Question Mark that's trying to make the advance in. The circle is going to be popping. We all know where it's going.
Yeah, well, it has to remove as much water as it can, and that'll give you a pretty good indication of where this one's going to end.
There's only
so now it's got some options. Now it did remove quite a bit of water. Good spray from Naileup onto Snakers. That's going to take him out of the vehicle. Looks like he's going to be unrecoverable. Kickstart gets a ton of air here. QBE tries to spray him out. Kick, getting a little bit of help from Flood. Finally, Ivis takes Kick out.
That was wild, the amount of damage he managed to get up while he was in the area there. Now we're going to have to see any follow-ups coming in as this Entropic United fight there doesn't feel like there's going to be any winners except for Danawa.
Yeah, great job here by Soul, at least using that M24 to steal some points. Flood now on the outside looking in, trying to find if he can get an angle onto Ivis. Ivis just proning and hiding, and there's not a whole lot he can do right now without a little bit of smoke, a little bit of cover fire potentially. QE hasn't been removed just yet. Ivis trying to keep Flood honest, but Flood has been just absolutely nuts this event.
He's just kind of trapped out there, and he's seeing if maybe he can get something for free out of all of the cost. It's still going to be Naileup that's taking shots into him, as while we see Question Mark is going to be coming in. United does get eliminated, and now the press is going to come up for Question Mark. They do manage to get at least one down, but it's going to be Lambu that follows up after Salute's gone down, and Question Mark gets eliminated very quickly.
Yeah, great reaction there by Lambu to follow up off of his teammates' play. The knock, you know, QM was going to look to push off of it. He was able to just get right up there, get a good spray transfer with that 2x, and now you got Naileup trying to find anything he can against 17. Look at all the grenades. Everyone in 17 immediately switches over to frag grenades, and it is just raining. Fortunately for Naileup, he's able to sidestep it.
Just don't go over there anymore. That's it. Yeah, just Naileup, leave. There's no reason to be over there. Well, I guess you can't go this way either, as Soul's now made a problem, and Naileup, your life just got to be pretty bad, as he has nowhere he can really go. Danawa looks like they're going to press in, finish off the last two, and Naileup is just going to be found all by his lonesome.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful from Soul. Great push here from Donawa. They want to clean Entropic out. They want to get all these points on the edge while they can, and they are looking to get the last member. Oh, what a spray up and over right on top of Salute. You got a three-man line here, and it is going to be Lambu again, finding another big kill for Donawa.
Getting some assistance in the back end of that one, as it looked like 17 was taking some shots as well, but it's going to be the Freaks that do get a knock on a 17, but they're perfectly content where they're going to be at. They should be able to get the res. Most of our teams are already in fortified positions right now, is really, it's everybody inside of buildings shooting at everybody in the hills to the south. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're one of these teams here on the south, you know, you're going to have to make a rotation most likely eventually, and really your only options are either to crash something inside of that city or try to loop around to the west and try to get to the beach, but that beach is completely controlled right now, so there isn't much of a hill where FaZe is.
Ghost just moved into Danawa, and they said, we don't even care. They're moving up, and it's going to be Danawa that's trying to defend. More nades going to be coming out yet again from 17, and they are going to connect. Helen's going to go down. Now, what are we going to see 17 do with this when the shots are still going to be coming out? And that's going to be Twisted Minds from so far away, trying to see if they can get more into this one. 17 wants to continue going forward, but it's not going to happen. That's like, what? I'm looking at this 250 meters that we're seeing the shots come into the mat.
Oh, what great grenades from 17. Absolutely doing tons of damage. Helen had just been reds, and now they're all gone. The grenades are perfect from Xiaowu and 17.
17 now coming back to reset, trying to see if they can get to some safety. They want to get Ghost, and it looks like they should be able to do so. Those shots are still going to be coming out from Twisted Minds, but the angle is much harder over here, and you can see they just want to try to get him out of this spot. Looks like they are going to be able to get the res finally. Support's going to be coming in, and the other two members from 17, it looks like they're trying to get to the hillside to maybe take some shots into Perfectix, who's just not relenting.
Yeah, this is really, really tough for 17. Like I said, trying to get into the city is really, really challenging because everything's already taken. So you got to find some way to rotate maybe around to the coast. I don't know what their vehicle situation is like. Looks like there is a Dacia. It'd be best if they had more than one, as that Dacia is already
no helmet too.
Pretty, yeah. Things are bad for 17. I mean, in terms of just getting into the next circle, they've had a great game so far. 6 kills is absolutely great, given kind of the strangeness of all of this. But hey, let's see if they can make this run. I think this is going to have to be a clown car. I don't think they have anything else.
Yeah, and look at this. This is, all right, whoever's going to get the first spray into this vehicle is about to pick themselves up some kills because there's not much to be working with on it. Going to try to rotate around. Looks like it's going to be FaZe taking those first couple of shots into it. They have nowhere they can go, and it's going to be Cerberus that picks up one. Batulin's going to go ahead and flush it out, trying to roll in, see if maybe they can get out of the car before it explodes. At least one's going down. Vehicle is rolling. It's going to go down.
Yeah, Twisted Minds there has a great angle onto this, and with only one Dacia, there was just no hope for 17. Well played on the edge. Good job taking down a lot, but yeah, just an impossible rotation there. You can see there's a lot of exposed terrain just to the southwest here, as Cerberus just barely in, but inside of one of what you call the ice cream stands. This sucks. I mean, you've got kind of some healthy vehicles-ish. They're smoking, but you can at least drive them.
We do need to point out, though, that Twisted Mind has a massive opportunity here. They're pretty close to the center of the circle. Math should be favoring them in this. They are now only 12 points back behind 17 Gaming, so we might see this as a big game because you gotta take the games as they're given to you, right? Twisted Minds navigated this. They got into a position. They were the harassment into 17, and now they have an opportunity. How much is the circle going to let them exploit it?
Again, it's the timing and the reconnaissance that Twisted Minds does that has set them apart from other teams for the last couple of years, and you could see that this compound was left open by TMA because they retreated to try to keep FaZe boxed out. And I mean, to TMA's credit, you know, they were probably in the back of their minds thinking, this is going to this peninsula out on the west here, this very small peninsula. We need to play for that. And still, this is not a bad position at all for TMA to be in. This circle, though, doesn't have to remove Watermat. This can go literally anywhere, and who knows? This could be, you know, hard shift up to the northwest still. It'd be extremely unlikely, but stranger things have happened.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
No, we want whammies. How dare you? We want whammies.
More whammies. More whammies. Where are we going to? Is FaZe, you can see, trying to prep some type of movement. They're realizing they're going to go. Yep, that's going to be FaZe and TMA as well as Cerberus that'll have to move.
Just kidding. These circles have been anything but vanilla. But this one shifts pretty fairly towards the direction of, you know, the Freaks and Wildcard, Overpeakers as well, Twisted Minds. So now TMA going to have to make a move eventually. The corner of that fence line is still in, it looks like. FaZe as well has to figure something out. Cerberus, you know, again, they're going to have to crash something.
This is a big game for Overpeakers and TMA. They have the capability to pick up some pretty free points and start stepping into that 3rd through 6th place positions. Cerberus as well, I don't really put them in the same category as their position is a lot harder to move out of. They're going to have a similar situation to what we see going on with FaZe. FaZe is at least going to be able to use the hillside, roll right next to a crate that nobody is ever going to go for, and Fex is going to go down. And where are we going to see Diggory stop out? He's going to try to spin it around. Vehicle is going to be able to block him out, but that is going to be Overpeakers that has an angle into it. And now it's just going to be getting some suntans, chilling on the beach.
I like this, though. I think Fex can maybe get over to kind of that rock ridge on the coastline. He must get knocked as Cerberus is trying to find some way into this next circle. And again, there isn't much. Literally everybody can see them, and everybody knows it, that, you know, those are points, and it's a race to see who can, you know, farm them first.
There is a slight recess in the shore to the north that Diggory can probably swim or crawl his way to.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Okay, Cerberus, you don't even have any tires coming out of this one. This is... Smokes are going to be connecting, and now you can see it's just 3 different teams just lining them up. This is why I was saying that Cerberus, not necessarily in that same hunt those other teams were.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, it's just you know, again, it's the other teams trying to scramble to see who can get the points first. Now, TMA trying to use the chaos here to see if they can sneak under the noses of Twisted Minds and get into their territory. Lash is going to find a point onto Himas. Steams did get knocked for Overpeakers, but I I'm not sure if that's resable or not, because Overpeaker, it looks like Jeems attempted to cross the street, paid the price. There's nobody there to res him just yet. Grenades start coming out. Twisted Minds has to change territory, change levels inside of the house, and yeah, so far nobody's knocked.
Every 17 E United Navi fan is presently cheering for TMA, hoping the fact that Twisted Minds can't pick up yet another victory and start making a runaway with this, creating an even bigger gap between third and fourth. Cerberus finally does go down in a hail of flames and explosions. TMA does manage to cross, make landfall, and now it's just going to be about TMA being the only moving factor and the only team not inside a building.
Yeah, Overpeakers tried to send Mexi to save Jeems. He got knocked for it. EN here. Oh my god, knocks abounding for Twisted Minds. Lou still has that Groza. Remember, he got that at the beginning of the game. Now he is going to start making it rain with those grenades. He's going to find another knock. There's a counter knock onto Spyro from Crazy. Twisted Minds, though, looking pretty good on this defense.
While all this is going on, Diggory does manage to sneak in. Lou's now moved down into the low ground. He knows exactly where they're going to be at. Spray's now coming out. Doesn't connect the way that he wants it to. Twisted Minds, they had the opportunity to move in. Go ahead and take care of what's right on the side of him, but the reses are going to be coming out. That was way too greedy. Now going to go down. Twisted Minds got the angle. They're keeping the control. KP now starting to pop up on Twisted Minds side, but Lou is going to go down. Having to run away. It's going to be Crazy that's holding the lineup.
Yeah, Perfectic's the only one who's on full health here, really, for Twisted Minds, and he's not quite full, but very close to full. Smokes have to come out to cut off the Afrika Freaks, or excuse me, the Guangdong Freaks' angle. Now Crazy looking to go for that res. Yuppie going to scoot around to the back. By the way, when you're knocked, you can move around, and your teammate can still be resing you, just in case you didn't know that. Little PUBG facts here. Trying to catch Yuppie right after the res. Perfectix, Molly's out. Grenades, though, big from TMA. They catch two.
What can they do off of this? The circle is now shifted. It's going to be going to the east. Diggory hears this firefight, and he's moving in from the north. He's going to come in right back behind Twisted Minds. How are they going to want to handle this one? With that damage coming out, it looks like Diggory has set his eyes more in that TMA direction. The shots are going to start coming out for it, but he has got to be careful. Now, several independent firefights are starting to happen around the circle as people are taking the shots, but it's going to be TMA still clinging to life over here. The throwables not coming out the way that they want them to, though.
Oh, this is unfortunate for TMA. They had an opportunity, and Diggory wanted points. He knew that this was the easiest angle to find a couple potential kills. He has been taken quite low here. Yuppie gonna let go with his last frag grenade, but it comes up well short. Overcooked on that one. Diggory, his last one. Let's see if it can find two.
Oh, they're making the push into it. I like this, reading the fact that Nate's going to be coming out, but it's actually going to be finally picked up by Crazy. He's going to get dropped off as Spyro as the resets are trying to come in. Now, what are you even going to do? Overpeakers now hopping the vehicle. They're making a directed send right into the wildcard lines. It's going to be a ton of people taking shots into it as we still have 4 teams up and just chaos that's going to continue to mount. 2 teams full stacked up in wildcard and the Freaks. Inside compounds, inside control. They've got walls, they've got everything, and it's going to be TMA limping in with Twisted Minds right next to him.
Now, a lot of other teams are going to be very happy that the Twisted Minds squad was halted quite effectively by TMA. Now, TMA isn't going to find the 3rd kill onto Spyro just yet. Maybe we'll see if Yuppie can get anything done. But, I mean, this is a really good effort here by TMA in a really tricky spot. And now Twisted Minds and Yuppie have to find their way into the next circle. So, wildcard. The Freaks going to be holding this angle down. Decent little shot there from Lash. Catches the jumping member. Ooh, Yuppie, though. Yuppie gets Perfectix.
That is going to be big. He's still just trying to take that last stab at the team that has caused him so much problems. They're continuing to climb. TMA is now up in 5th place as they finally do get eliminated, but they picked up some very needed kills as that is just a compacted section of the leaderboard. Twisted Minds, though, does get into the circle, and we still have 3 teams. It's a 4v3v2.
Yeah, okay, now for real, Twisted Minds has to leave, and you've got 3 members of the Freaks just completely tunneled in on that direction. Akkad watching for a flank from Wildcard. I can see Nikos out there at least flirting with the idea, but Akkad should have a pretty good hold on that angle, I would assume. We'll see if Nikos can somehow squeak his way in there, maybe get the knock onto Akkad and cut off that angle. Shots there from Greg, trying to see if he can catch Lou. You know, he's very smart. He knows that there's probably some grenades coming. Moves right over to the angle. Now Wildcard going to reinforce this side. A little bit opening damage.
Adam does connect onto Lou, and it is now just Spyro as the circle is going to be coming in just a few seconds. And I think that Twisted Minds realizes this is their death knell. There's not too much they can do. 2 teams, again, both of these compounds and all of these compounds and buildings that we're looking at, I have walls around them, have a whole bunch of different ways. Spyro is, he's really, really good, but I don't know what you can do here. Get a couple of shots on the Freaks who just revealed themselves in a bad way. That is the freest kill that he should not have been able to get.
Yeah, that was kind of a little bit of arrogance there from the Freaks where they thought they could make that rotation and they paid the price there. Spyro has just been money with these minis, so he's almost out of ammo on top of this, but still got a barrel in the pocket, and again, he's on the outside looking in here, so he's gonna have to make a move eventually. May just opt to let the blue do the work for him, but I mean, what a game from the Twisted Minds. Truly, this is a really well-played game because of that maneuver they make early on in this game to take this compound, recognizing the open territory, taking the open space at a perfect time. That's Twisted Minds in a nutshell.
Questions are, who can pick up more inside this wildcard? Could use a climb of their own, similar to what TMA just did. Freaks want every single point they can get. Looks like Spyro is just going to go ahead and feed this one over. That's the smart call to do. I mean, he could have kind of like, I don't know, thrown his gun, and that's about the only other thing that he had left in the tank for that. Now, it's all about the firefight that's about to go down. Center point is going to favor more of the side where we do see wildcard playing from. With this, Greg Shot has now moved into that northern position. He's trying to make sure that nobody comes out from the Freaks on that side. It's going to be a double up where we see the rest of wildcard trying to defend. Meanwhile, the four-man squad of Freaks are just a straight line trying to see if they can get any opening and any not.
Ooh, Greg Shot takes a bunch of damage. Akkad still has 3 frags. He's got Greg Shot pinned in that corner. If he can get these frags to land, Greg Shot should be dead. That one bounces just a bit too far to get the finish. The follow-up here from Akkad looks like it's really good, but he had just gotten the first aid kit off.
Now Ian is down. Nikos did manage to turn this back into a 3v3, but it's going to be Akkad that does connect onto Greg Shot, who is trying to fight for that centered position. With this, Adam now has to make a reposition away from where he was at. Nikos still just trying to hold up, make sure that he can defend everything that's going to be happening. Adam wants to try to get his teammate back up, but he is cooking. Viking Funeral is going to go ahead and send him to Valhalla.
Yeah, exactly. That's a toughie there for Greg Shot, with Akkad still sitting on quite a bit of damage utility. It was just a really difficult spot to get out of. Nikos has been absolutely disgustingly good for wildcard this event. Does he have some magic here to pull it through for the side of the NA squad? And well, you can see Akkad he still has a couple more mollies in the bag. Adam has quite a few frags himself.
Okay, smokes are now out, and it's moving into that wall-to-wall, minimal vision, listening for footsteps. Throwables being the king of everything that you can do. Nate is going to connect, do some damage into this one. Adam just trying to hit some bank shots onto somebody. Molotovs could pay up really big, specifically in that choke point that you can see that they're trying to push through right now. The Freaks are going to have that Molotov land in front of them. Akkad still playing up top, as it looks like this is just going to be moving into an absolutely close range. Here on no vision. Nikos does get a knock. Now we shifted this back into a 2v2. Throwables now coming out. Adam's coming up to reinforce. Nade's going to be pretty close to this one. Is it going to be able to take down Akkad? And yes, it does. Nikos picks him up. 2v1, and Wildcard are starting to feel it.
Oh, they're pushing in, though. They might get a little bit too far in to make sure they get these kill points. Last year, trying to hold the angle. Hikari trying to give him information. Stun comes out. You've got a Saiga in the hands of Lash.
Oh, my God.
I think you should just switch to that. I think the range is going to be nothing but point blank the rest of the way. Spray comes through, he gets the knock.
1v1, now lined up, but it's going to be spotted out. Wildcard manages to pick it up, several kills, and finally finding themselves a good game.
There we go, a great finish there, a great hold. Adam doing a wonderful job with his utility, really making sure that that exit out of the fence line was completely under their control and that the Freaks had no ability to leave it.
Hey, Brendan, I'm not going to have a voice left. This is the way these games keep going. Between what happened yesterday and starting off today, this is what you want PGC to be.
Так, все, микрофон работает. Только разговаривал, микрофон не работал, оказывается, все это время.
Insane fragger for wildcard this event. Just wonderful. And Adam picking it up there with some really smart, heady plays to really make sure that, again, the Freaks had no chance to get over that fence.
That was difficult. I do wish, though, there was a world in which case we could have seen an automatic shotgun.
Всем привет еще раз. В начале стрима все говорил, столько разговаривал по матчу, и ни хрена меня слышно не было, оказывается. Поздно заметил, что микрофон не работает. Всем привет, последний день суперфинала. 5 игр, 3 рангеля, 2 Мирамара. Зона просто была нереальной, такой крошечный. Я думал, что на второй фазе уже просто тут такое мясо будет. Ну так и было. Вы все видели. Просто нереальные замесы. Было что-то похожее вчера в плане зоны на этой же карте, здесь же в углу. Блять, это просто пипец. Неудачный старт для команды Нави. Всего один фраг.
Потеряли всех игроков. Очень плохой старт последнего дня. Команда Twist, мое почтение. Очень хорошо отыграли. Практически догнали команду 17. Все в их руках. Так. Первую карту выигрывает команда Wildcard. Что будем смотреть? Будем смотреть. Сегодня будет нереальный день. Что смотрим? Сейчас будет сразу вторая карта, потом будет перерыв.
Had no options once that second shift happened. Let's look at the top 4 teams' performance in that match. Wildcard does walk away with the chicken dinner and 9 total kills. Freaks, though, I think played really well from that building. I loved watching a COD sort of lock Greg shot out. They were planning well. I just don't think they were quite ready for that bank shot grenade at the end.
No, I don't think so either. In this case as well, I was actually expecting a little bit more teams try to kind of send it into some of those blocks of South George. Yeah. Because there's so many buildings where you can kind of breach into, but both Freaks and Wildcat, they were able to hold it down. Wildcat took out over Pegas where they tried to cross the road, and even in this case here, when the blocks are so far apart, you have your buildings, then you have your walls, then you have a big grassy patch where you have to use like 5, 6, 7 smokes to even get across, right? So it's quite easy to defend if you're able to commit a little bit of utility to it. And as you saw,
показывают нам повторы. Так, еще раз смотрю, микрофон работает. Микрофон работает.
I mean, even early on, we saw what happened when you try to crash into it. When Yahoo tried to send it in, they just got absolutely roasted. So, I mean, you want to.
Ждем начала второй игры.
A lot more difficult to get away with this in this lobby,
Вторая
obviously.
карта.
But you know, again, credit to Wildcard for holding on that north side. There was a lot of teams that were trying to make their way in from the north, most notably over Peakers. And I mean, that was just a big clutch late game there for Nikos.
I do think the teams that got to this end game owe a little thanks to over Peakers. They were like a big burly bully up on the north side. Everyone went away from going into there because they were just spread out in a death line for anyone who tried to crash. Let's take a look at the points and how they break down. 19 going the way of Wildcard. Twisted Minds, who just is the picture of consistency, walks away with 13 second. The Freaks are going to be able to get a little bit
Команда
of
Twist Minds прям настроены.
They let some points slide here, Martin.
Yeah, a little bit, and it's for the greater good of everything else, you know. they let the foot off the gas a little bit. I gotta say, though, Danavahi in this case, they had some really good team wipes. They played extremely well, and also in this case, when you're able to get top 4 without getting any placement points, that's always super well executed by them there.
No, it's huge for especially Seoul once again. And you know, you talk about 17, kind of leaving a little bit. Still, 7 points is huge. I mean, that's in a circle like this, obviously it's great. But then you look at United, 1 point, Navi, 1 point. I mean, we're talking about this coming in. You can't afford to have those slip-up games where you're getting 1 or 0 points because these guys are still climbing every single time.
That's true. I mean, they did come in 17 with a 70%, I think it was top 5 rate at the start of today. And let's be honest, 200 meters difference, Twisted Minds might have been adding another chicken dinner to their leaderboard. Instead, Wildcard does come away with it, and the all-star who's really shown up in this event and is showing a lot of potential going forward for the region, Nikus, looking amazing.
He's scary in land, man. He's performing. He's out here really proving that Wildcard is here, and they're obviously not happy with anything outside the top 10.
I mean, because it's one of those guys we've been talking about for a long time as being like the next potential big superstar from North America, or well, I guess from our newest transplant.
Так, команда Wildcard сразу на 5-е место.
Yeah, that jumps them all the way up to 5th. That's not too.
5-е место занимают сразу. Бля, ну Нави надо что-то просто нереальное сейчас придумывать, делать, чтобы им повезло, так сказать.
Martin, just how close the mid pack is, because one big game puts you into the hunt.
Yeah, look from 5th place all the way down to 11th, 51 points to 64. It's 13 points. It's one good game and you're straight into it. And it's tens of thousands of dollars difference, those placements there. It's crazy.
And I do. Oftentimes we're tempted to sort of watch those big 3, Poro, and sort of the race to the top, because that is what the whole year is about.
Absolutely.
But Martin brings up a big point. Tens of thousands of dollars for a team like, let's say, Yahoo, who is non-sponsored, that could be an entire year of training and ability to really focus going into 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that could be the difference between a lot of different. I mean, that's them basically taken care of for the next couple of years for sure. And again, you see Wildcard making that big jump. Yoho did it yesterday. But at the end of the day, you know, we're still looking at that top 3, and it's starting to get farther and farther away because Twisted Mind, 17, they just don't have 0-point games. They don't have 1-point games. They just always manage to collect points to add to that total and separate themselves even further.
Okay, go ahead.
It's feeling very much like new Happy Heroic.
Ничего, стартует вторая игра.
It's becoming a 2-horse race, so they're running away with it right now. More than 20 points difference, down to 3rd. Somebody has to stop them, and there's 14 other teams that's looking at it too.
I'm gonna take a brief chance to look away from the top 3 to ask a few more questions. The team that we saw in that game put in some work was Overpeakers. You got to remember during the interview, how can we not remember? Before this started, Jeem said we're not playing together anymore. Mixie literally went up there on stage and said we hate each other.
Показывает нам команда номер 17.
And synergy, how is a team that quote unquote hates each other doing so well?
They're still half the points of first place, so
yeah, but
I think technically
look, you can hate each other and still know how to communicate.
Still frag like a monster.
Yeah, he's like, hey, there's a guy in that window, jackass. You know, like he still finds success. I mean, all 4 of those guys are still extremely talented players that have been playing together for a long time. It doesn't matter if they hate each other or not; they still know each other well enough to know how to play the game at this level.
They're not gonna forget how to play the game. They're not gonna forget how to win the 1 versus 1, right? No matter what. In this case here, I have a lot of trust in these guys. Remember, like 3 of these guys, they started 5 years ago in Oakland, playing in 3 different teams.
They're absolute monsters.
It's crazy. These guys are legends in the game, and they played for so long. So they know how to do this and know how to execute. And the reason why they're not on the very top right now is maybe a little lack of synergy, and maybe that, but they hate each other. You know, even a little bit sarcastic. They might not feel that the team synergy is exactly where it should be.
A team that does depend on synergy and has got some questions around them right now is Donowa. We know that that's the 1-2 punch. Salute and Soul, a very good team, but a lot of questions have been asked about Lambu, his ability to sort of lead the team and keep into the right mental state.
He popped off this game. Four kills in that one. He had a clutch. In a situation where he maybe shouldn't have won it versus question mark, and then they continue further on there. I honestly like what I'm seeing from them so far. Soul, honestly, in a case where he's one of the top 5
То есть сейчас в топе, Егорик. Пока также команда 17, 17. Ну, твисты уже почти догнали. Не будем загадывать, но почти догнали. 2 килла всего разница между первым и вторым.
But they come in here today, first game, looking pretty good, and as you said, Soul is just, what can you say about the guy? He's top fragging right now.
Сейчас стартует вторая карта.
Right now, but they're 5 points from 5th place, guys. It's extremely close. Again, that's like $50,000 for 5 points, right? One kill is $10,000 at this point, right?
It's insane.
It's extremely close because we have our sponges in the top, right? The guys, 17 Gaming, Twisted Minds, E United at this point here, they've taken so many points that there's so little rest for everybody else that it's going to be extremely close for outside the top 4, 5th and down.
I do think that this is a great time when we look at some of these teams, TMA, Donowa, maybe even to a certain extent E United, is teams that as we look towards 2023, even if they don't necessarily lift the trophy, if 17 dominates, these are very strong looking teams that have put up really, I think, a great indicator for PUBG esports going forward.
Yeah, honestly, I like what I'm seeing from Team. I give them a bit of rough in the start of it because they have.
Но мясо было лютейшее, ты бы видел. Первый круг, как всегда, полкруга было в воде, наверное, процентов 50, наверное, даже первой фазы было в воде. И на второй фазе уже замес был просто нереальный. Нави всего сделали 1 килл, и их там вынесли жестко, пока они занимали позицию. В итоге топ-1 заняла команда Wildcard Gaming. Первую карту забрала команда Wildcard Gaming.
his knocks framed off with those Molotovs. These guys.
Они где-то в топ-10 сидели, где-то так. Сейчас они уже на 5-м месте сразу.
The game that they had just now gave them more points than the entire first day. So right now they're in up row. They got 20 points yesterday. So if they continue this, they can jump into maybe top 10 if they continue.
And, you know, it's interesting because you go and you look at some of the message boards over there, and there's already talk now about, you know, what teams are gonna, you know, do.
Долго что-то начинается. По идее, перерыва-то не должно быть. Ощущение, как будто перерыв.
You know, again, this is a team that I think they could be really good together. Like, I think they just need a little bit more time, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of faith in Akkad, and I had Ian on my fantasy team, man. I was really believing.
Yeah,
and,
I honestly, Lash K and Ian, they've been, especially last year and in the start of the year, a lot of high expectations to them, and they've been showing it. But then they get to PGC Asia, and they just get dominated by, you know, the Chinese teams that have just been on another level so far.
Absolutely. All right, you saw the trophy over there on the stage. Let's talk about FaZe. I know you know these guys. I'm not really sure what's going on with them, though.
No, I don't know either. I talked to them, and they don't know either themselves. So, no, of course they have some insights, they have some ideas, but right now, they're just not hitting the mark at this point here. Again, two legends of the game. Gustav and Etsy also at IEM Oakland 5 years ago. Gustav played on Win and Rain, and, you know, Etsy played with Method, Andy Pyro back in the day before he then joined FaZe. Now the longest standing member here left from 2019 era of Etsy, right? So these guys, 15th.
Кто-то из команд взял паузу, типа.
It's just not good enough. We're expecting them to be
Возможно.
at least top 8. We expect them to be one of the contenders right now. But yeah, they haven't been performing and popping off as we would love them to see to do.
Especially to see what Fex was able to put together at PNC, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was an insane performance.
We know what they're capable of individually, right? So
you know,
and I guess the problem for them is they know what they're capable of. Gustav is an incredible leader, and they have to be frustrated. I mean, the fact that they got into this in the last moments of a grand survival, do you think that took a toll on them? The fact that they had to go that deep in to get through?
It just can't, right? You have to be able to mentally reset from that. You have 2 days off. That you take maybe one mental day, and then you take the next day, and that's where you start prepping up and really getting into things. On the other side, one fantastic game, one win with double digits right there straight into the top 8. So I'm just hoping that they're able to turn this around today before it's going to be too late on the last day, because that's going to be really hard to catch up then, right?
I understand, guys. I'm with you, but we are making sure that obviously the playing field is even. We're taking care of some tech stuff, and we'll be right up and running in just a couple of minutes here. But let's keep meeting the teams. Wildcard came away with the win there. I got a little worried. Adam seemed like he was jumping the gun on some of those grenades he was laying out in that last match, but it didn't matter. They played it perfectly.
No, I was looking at Adam. I was like, he has 3 nades and 2 Molotovs. That's going to be easy, just with the utility. That's literally going to win them the game. They just needed them to get off their kind of inner side of it, but then they bounced off a few nades here and there. They got an opening knock, and then they got another knock with a nade, and then they could go aggressive with it. He used it a little bit early. For my taste, I'd probably waited, but then again, if you get held out or if you get naded yourself, all that utility is going to be on your dead body rather than being used in action. So
and then 17 will sneak up and probably loot it somehow.
Долго, очень долго.
The next game.
I think 17 just starts off every
Может быть, кому-то что-то меняют там.
I mean, it was an awesome finish from Wildcard, and kind of touching back on what we were saying before, right? It's so awesome to see, you know, for having us in the Americas talk about Nico's for such a long time now, and be like, oh yeah, I mean, this guy's actually cracked, he's nuts, you should really watch him, he's going to be the next big thing. And then you get here, like, meanwhile, in the back of our heads, we know, like, okay, well, he hasn't been on land. We haven't seen him on land yet. What's he going to do when he gets there? How's he going to take it? And, like, so far, he's taken it to it like a fish to water, man. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a rough start. He felt a little bit of sick and stuff with it, but now, popping off here in the final, honestly,
you like the jerseys, Martin?
They probably weren't maybe on the cusp for the grand final for me, but they came here and made my mind. Honestly, they played extremely well. Day trade.
Команда Day Trade.
Looks good. It's a good look, isn't it?
Honestly, I think Paper, he matched with them yesterday. It should have been yesterday, and then they would match perfectly. But yeah, Day Trade, 2-time PCS champion here, and these guys, the 1-2 punch Flash Nerds, high expectations to them. Still on the cusp here. They can breach in the top 4 if Na'Vi continues to have a rough time. But in this case here, yeah, I really want to see them pop off. One good game and they're into the top 5, top 6 easily. They're again this huge mid pack because we have all these teams in the top that've been able to take so many points. Two teams in double digits.
Да, кто там жульничал, чего угораешься?
10 points, 12 points, 15 points.
Отменят результат. Игорь, ты что там, курнул, что ли, на рабочем? Команда уходит. Смотри. На перекур, походу, или куда?
Twisted Minds is going deep every time, but they're not necessarily getting quite the points they want to. The fact they have 4 chicken dinners, but haven't managed to get that first place position. Now here's a team that has given, I think, a lot of ups and a lot of downs. It's been a bit of a roller coaster with them, Martin.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Ivys, one of the most bot players when it comes to fantasy, and everybody's watching this team because of that. What's your take on them?
Ну, ходит, не значит, что что-то пересматривают и кто-то что-то нарушил. Просто, возможно, где-то какие-то сбои, и что-то не могут наладить и так далее.
Only focus is get me as many points in my fantasy team as possible because I have Naleb on my team. And yeah, they yesterday they fell off 10 points compared to the 30 on day number 1. It was actually looking pretty good day number 1. We're like, okay, these guys have come to play. They're potentially going to be able to stay within the top 8. But right now, 13th place, 43 points, still one good game, jumping into the top 8 easily. But they gotta do that. They gotta get the ball rolling here. And if you then don't do it in day 3, it's going to be hard to catch up to the other.
То есть он надевает одни наушники и сверху еще другие? А, они почти все так делают? Я так понимаю, это чтобы максимально хорошо слышать. Да, смотри, у них у всех надеты обычные наушники, а сверху другие еще.
And I was informed that their mascot is not a chicken for everyone at home. It's apparently some sort of
Gloucester canary, man.
Is that like a canary from Gloucester?
Canary.
It looks like a gangster bird, right?
Looks like a canary that played for the Beatles. You know?
Okay.
Well,
either way, these guys have sort of blossomed a little bit into Eagles. They've been playing very, very well.
Может быть, какие-то быстрые интервью дают после каждой карты, типа. Ну, тут вот вся команда сидит.
I love Twisted Minds,
Twisted.
but I actually want to talk about your whole a little bit quickly before, because we've been talking about them so much, right? And we're going to have plenty of opportunities. Right, I want to talk a little bit about your whole here. What I love, I played a few games, competitive games with Balefrost. This mind is something else. Like, he remembers kill feed players, what happens around, and like, you can be, there's 23 players left. Like, I'll talk to both, like, there's 23 players left. He's going to be able to tell you what teams are alive and how many is on each team.
Well, I know 2 other guys who can tell you exactly how many players alive and who's left on each team. It
Так,
is the
вот,
Titans
начинается.
of Talk. Let's go check into game number 2 with Paperthin and Matchroom.
Начинается.
Thank you, Toffees. I don't think it's really fair on our side because we get a nice little observer client.
Yeah, we get to cheat. We don't have to. It's not like the players where we have to like mentally keep track of the kill feed.
Бля, ну надеюсь, на второй карте зоны не будет где-то в самом краю воды.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I will say I've gotten okay at it, but I'm still, I mean, in a 100-player lobby, forget it. I'm not even trying in a public.
Так, что пока очень мало команд падает.
I try to keep track of things a little bit as best I can, and I mean, our players though, they're experts at it. That's why.
Интересно, какую тактику выберут Нави? Куда они будут падать? Так вот они падают. Вот твисты опять занимают школы. Да. Команда Твист опять хотят занять школу с общагами. Нави, похоже, опять летят куда-то в район фарма.
There are IGLs who play like that. You've seen Jeems do it a little bit this event. I mean, PO, of course, is kind of the goat of doing that as a solo. But some IGLs play back.
Команда Wildcard Gaming летит северный. Опа. Передумал ехать. И к нему кидают.
playing with fire a little bit there.
I always love it whenever somebody blows the horn as they're running away, or specifically right before they run over somebody.
That's
Ну, такой круг уже получше.
It bothers me when people don't do it. It just feels wrong.
If only you could turn on the radio. My friend and I do this sometimes in pub games where we turn on the radios in the car, and then we send them down hills at people to sound bomb them so they can't hear what we're doing as well. Yeah, it works.
Well, you can see the circle is more standard, I would say, than last time, which is, I think, a sigh of relief. I mean,
sure.
Again, we like some fun circles, but also let's not break the servers.
Yeah, that one right there was pretty wild. I mean, we've had a couple really wild ones in these grand finals, so you know, maybe we've gotten those out of our system. I'm not sure. Me and you on cast, Matt, you never know because we just seem to do absolutely.
Повтор финала первой карты.
It is what it is. I mean, again, the way that Nikos and Adam handle this, it's so well set up.
Никос делает килл и кидает гранату. Взрывает двоих. И остаются они 2 в 1.
And then they're going to push here to make sure they, you know, get these points, see if they can catch, you know, maybe a res happening potentially. You know, some players might feel like they're comfortable enough to go for the res in that moment, just because you wouldn't maybe necessarily expect somebody to cross this this sort of dirt path. But yeah, Lash gets the first one, but by that point he has not much health, and 1 bullet from the barrel gets the job done.
Small thing I want to point out that, again, in the thick of a lot of this action, notice whenever Adam got knocked, he instantly reasserted himself, looked directly at who knocked him down, moved to the side of the wall, so that way whenever Nikos, whenever he went for a peek or anything over there, would have some type of extra shield and body block.
Yeah, you can do that too, yeah.
That is so useful at the end game and can often turn a fight entirely.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can literally use your own teammate for cover.
Команда из топ-5, из топ-4, топ-5, топ-6 займут топ-1, в итоге я буду просто в шоке, потому что разница практически в 2 раза между первым и 5-м местом.
One of my favorite moments, I think, was whenever we were looking around for stuff and everybody was getting really geared and he couldn't find a level 2 armor. So every single time he would find a level 2 armor, I would sneak away and shoot him to damage his armor, so that way he went to look for another one.
That's pretty mean there, man.
It was so hilarious.
Whoa.
And then he turned around and shot me. I'd run over there and then go find another one.
Massive BM there, my man. All right, well, you know, it's all good. All right, we have another viewing party. This one in Vietnam from the X Stadium in Ho Chi Minh City. So, I mean, a wonderful PUBG region. I mean, you saw what they did at PNC this year. The fans there are absolutely wonderful. And they've got some great teams. They've got some great prospects. You know, I think the future is really bright for Vietnam for PUBG esports.
Man, they were so coordinated. Like, I guess the other groups are just like having fun, relaxing. They're like, no, we are going to show how supportive we are of our team.
I like it. I mean, I appreciate the coordination.
Hey, what's up, Vince?
That means you've got, you know.
What's up? How you doing?
You know, you've got those cheers. You've got, you know, the lead, you know.
Видим пока перетяжки, лутание. Пока все спокойнее.
I mean, that's kind of, you love all the independent chants that happen everywhere. You're like, we're American, so I don't have like too many chants. It's more just like one of those things.
Yeah, what does America do? The wave? Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, no. Usually we just pop open a beer. That's kind of what we do.
Yeah, that works too. All right, well, 17, just going to take these blues, and Lil Ghost on a mission. This is one of those solo scouts. Lil Ghost is I think the primary ideal, I guess you could say.
Так, подставляется игрок команды Донава. И, скорее всего, не отпустят его отсюда. Да. Первый фраг. Первый фраг для команды 17. Так, Нави не видят, что у них в спине есть враг.
He's got Navi that's just up on top of him. Day Trade kind of running a 1-1-2 split. The other two not here yet. I guess maybe they're just waiting for Navi to scout this one out.
Едут дальше.
And hop back in vehicles and now say, okay, guys, it's okay to come now.
Yep, it's just Flash doing a good job there. You know, using his ears to make sure that everything's safe. Greg shot. Why you gotta run over a moo cow? I don't know.
Because he only did 24 damage.
Сбивают своего.
Poor cow. He's been playing really good this tournament, but that last game was definitely Nikos and Adam stepping up big. And yeah, okay, no problem. At least, again, if you get run over, it doesn't do damage to your armor and your helmet, so you got that going for you.
Just lucky he didn't do a whole bunch of damage to that car. Whenever you hit a cow with a car, dude, that's just like...
Yeah, I can tell you as someone who is from Wisconsin, which is a state that has a lot of cows, that cows absolutely do bad things to cars. Deer too, but cows are oof.
Yeah, they are absolutely massive. Lucarux, though, trying to be massive in his own right, taking some shots at Punich, who sit there just in that area around North Rajak. So with this, and Tropic now running a 2-2, is over. Peekers are going to be coming in next to them. Looking like Yoho is going to get control over here of this high ground position inside of Rajak. Most of our teams pretty comfy cozy, as I think FaZe and E United with TMA going to be the last teams rotating in.
Yeah, it looks that way. I mean, this is a decent little spot for Yoho to get some information towards that western area of the circle. You can get pretty high in that 3-story house, so they are going to use that as a leapfrog point here. They recognize that this garage compound is open, so over to this one they go, and this is just a really smart, diligent kind of IGLing here and decision making from Yoho to put themselves into better positions for a more likely, late game where it's, and also they control the bridge now. If this does have the less likely shift to go north, I'd say probably a 60-40, 65-35.
And again, I want to reinforce what the desk was talking about because it is massively important. When we look, wildcard just 2 points ahead of
Команда OP
1 point ahead of Yoho.
едут по следам Йохов.
Who's just 2 points ahead of Donovan. 8 kill.
Одновременно с ними едет команда TMA.
Now it's going to be about how these teams can make sure that they can rally, find these areas. We've been talking about it at the very beginning, and it's not going to stop. Can you make sure your IGL's got that? And if something goes wrong, who's your superstar that can step up and find a way?
I think that's really well said by the desk and you. Is the middle of this pack is, one big game. All of a sudden, you're making tens of thousands of dollars more. So you're looking for that. James going to get spotted out here by TMA, and that's unfortunately been.
Тем временем высадили игрока от OP.
Trying to do that again. We talk about it, that isolated IGL.
Пытаются его добить. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Подставляется игрок команды TMA.
Thanks for the car. It's like, appreciate it. Now it's time to go TMA. They're going to bump into over peakers as Rajak is starting to become, I think, more contested than most people are expecting. 7-7.
Игрок команды The Experience.
Just playing this careful, but hey, guess what? Navi knows where you
Не
are
Experience,
as well. This is
X-Double.
just going to be an exchange of knocks just all around this area.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting little spot that these two teams find themselves in. This is southwest of Pachinki. I see teams fight over this hill a lot, and it is good territory. It is good reconnaissance that you can get to your north in particular in this circle.
I do want to point out, how far were those shots from Navi while we're watching FaZe do what
Добивают здесь игрока команды Day.
meters into TE?
Like more like 700.
That was ridiculous. Just to even hit any damage. I know this is cool what's happening here with day trade and everything else, but Navi just hits some ludicrously long shots.
Yeah, hopefully we got to replay that because that is dumb. That is just ridiculous. All right, FaZe though. Yeah,
okay. I'm gonna say it right here. Look, TE is over in Everest. Look where Navi is.
Yeah. No. That's ridiculous. That's some of the longest range shots you're gonna hit in any PUBG game. So. Circle is going to definitely go southwest. Maybe we get the mountain finish. I would love a mountain
Нави
finish.
нужно делать киллы.
Finishes
Это уже вторая игра последнего дня.
Ways that teams can approach it, a lot of different.
При этом им нужно, грубо говоря, играть аккуратно, да? Пытаться занять топ-1. Но им нужно все равно по ходу игры быть очень активными в плане киллов.
Yeah, this is interesting as we also have Navi that's on a similar path right now. 17 looks like they're going to cross. Cod is going to get spun out and go ahead and get run over on this other bridge as Entropic is still going to be holding down the quads over here.
Сбивают игрока тем временем команды КДФ. Нави подставляются здесь, нет? Не будет ли это ошибкой?
So we saw this with Cerberus in the previous game, and now Navi is going to use their opportunity to find some free space.
You know what's better than having all three of our top teams in here?
Так, команда The Experience продолжает сражаться, так сказать, воевать против команды Цербера. Но Твиста здесь находит в итоге. Летит граната, не долетает. можно здесь поднимать.
Looks like it's not going to get there either. Just about a meter or two with the angle on that one. Could have been able to establish. A Twisted Mind's going to do damage control right now, but at least at the footholds and at least in the foothills, too, of Everest.
No helmet there for Batu, so he's going to have to either find another one or pray he doesn't get hit by a 7.6 bullet in the face. And now Perfectix trying to drive up underneath Cerberus. Cerberus doing that long split across the ridge line of the top. You have TE with 2 up there, 2 down.
Команда United занимает поле сразу. Центр карты, что ли, я не так понимаю. Центр зоны. Перетяжка идет команда EHO. Ой-ой-ой, вставляется еще один игрок здесь. Команды Донава. Не может он его убить. В итоге Лукарда нокают. Не смог он добить. Поплатился за это. Вот это байт.
Of a ballet. That is beautiful from Soul.
I mean, just keep it on going, dude. Follow him for a while. Apparently, that's where all the shooting's going on. We do have a couple of shots that are going out. Really, it's just the continuation of what's going on top of Everest, as it is going to be Cerberus that's looking down on Twisted Minds, TE that's going to be holding to the east of Everest. Rotation's going to be coming in over Pickers down the south, and Yeho looks like they have set up a trap. Maybe they can pick up some kills, but it's actually going to be.
Как бы тут команда Yeho сейчас не умерла.
And finally, Shinboy does manage to get down Bard, but that's actually after James gets down Sparking.
Shinboy and Punich are out in the blue.
Трое игроков уже из команды Yeho лежит.
And this is only one member of Yahoo left. Shinboy able to pull off a heal, and nope, he's going to be finished by Clib.
Команда Yeho умирает. Сделал всего один килл.
Good setup, a good trap for Yahoo, but I'm telling you, there's something about Clib. He's the best I've seen at shooting out of cars. He just absolutely is.
All right, well, let's see how this is going to continue moving forward as Entropic is moving in. And hey, you are getting it. The circle did pop, and it looks like we are definitely favoring Everest.
Команда ОР остаются вдвоем, сделав 4 фрага. И переместились на 5-ю позицию. Нави сделали 1 килл тем временем.
We still also do have crates, so there is the potential for a crates game. Let's not forget that one.
How dare you? How dare you deny the mountain game from me like that?
Мне кажется, очень плохая позиция у команды Electronic.
But you're trying to curse it. You're trying to get it here. Crate games are fun too. I will say that those are fun, but the problem is that if it ends in the open space between the mountain and the crates, then it's kind of bleh.
Yeah, that's the absolute worst that could happen in this situation. So for our players, that's likely what's going to happen.
Yeah, right. That's now we have willed that into existence. United.
Так, команда United подкатывают к горе. Плохая позиция, я думаю, будет. У них в спине команда Day. Сверху команда CS. Очень плохая позиция. Очень плохая позиция. Сейчас они тут будут погибать. Я думаю, сейчас они тут будут погибать. Команда Twist потеряла одного игрока. Остаются они втроем. Будут здесь уничтожать машину, чтобы команда United никуда отсюда не уехала.
Really, it's just the top of the hillside, but with 4 teams up here, this is a hard place to survive.
I'd like to see Cerberus try to blow up this vehicle. Start just popping shots into it, just make it unusable. Just kind of see if you can make the cover worse for United. I mean, at best, for United, that the Dacia doesn't really change too much in its position, but it could flip and roll in a direction that kind of exposes them to Cerberus when the smokes run out. And now, yeah, Tycon has a knock on to Snakers, caught him out in the open. Relay smokes are going to go. A frag has been let loose, and you can see that one bounces just a bit too far. It's just so far down that hill. It's further than it looks.
Yeah, and so looking at, remember that we just got a spot up with Overpickers a second ago. I wanted to point out the fact that off of their 4 kills, they just had a massive climb up the leaderboard. They just needed 1 or 2, and they got 4, and they're still eyeing other ones. EU United, though, is just still having issues. It's just going to be Cerberus that's just continuing to harass. And Twisted Minds, yes, they are the closest team, but they're kind of content to let this keep on going as we are going to continue to stay Everest.
17 gaming fans are cheering behind us, and absolutely it's a decent little shift there, but still keeping the mountain in, still keeping the
Подъезжает к горе команда КДФ.
especially to the southern side of it in, and the Freaks making their move towards one of those valleys that's on the side. Salute has spotted, I think, the overpeakers here. Probably just going to trail them. I would like to see them coordinate this with Soul to catch them in a crossfire, and indeed, he's got it. He's got him out in the open. The 3x barrel spray is beautiful from Salute.
Good, well played out of that.
Игрок команды Гадданава делает даблкилл.
With the way that this circle pop actually can be a benefit for EU United, who are trying to right themselves, as now they're starting to be much more of a hillside fight and targets galore. We have Freaks that are coming into it, as well as having now Wildcard and Day Trade, who are playing that area in just south of Georgia Pool. They're taking shots into the mountains to see if they can weaken somebody for their cross, but this firefights up on top of her.
Происходит здесь стычка.
As you can see, there is an exchange between TE and Entropic.
Ну, игрок команды Electronic, я же говорил, у них хреновая позиция.
So many teams having to come through this mountain area. You either needed to retreat
Едут сюда команда Day под шумок.
Play for the edge, play for the points. Day Trade, well, they're trying to drive in as well, and the Freaks spray isn't that great. So now Day Trade has an opportunity to maybe punish them.
I'm worried that Cerberus is spread way too far up on the top of this one, as now all the teams are starting to come in. Talked about the fact that it's like somebody raked their fingers down it, and you can see now it's just finger versus finger fighting, as it's just going to be exchange of bullets between everybody that's going to be over here. Quantum Freaks do go.
Команда CS собралась, заняла хорошую позицию, уже 4 килла, не потеряв ни одного игрока. Пока очень неплохо складывается эта игра. Это карта для них.
Salute's got the Mark 14 in his hands. That's a big piece of utility. EU still fighting, still trying to scrape in as many points as they can. I mean, again, you don't want to see this become a two-horse race between Twisted Minds and 17, but Salalzi has other thoughts.
Yeah, Cerberus just going to continue to harass down onto EU United. Tropic finally gets eliminated. Wildcard's now starting to stretch out more and more. Nate's going to come out from Stakers to go ahead and finish that one.
Пятый килл для команды CS.
Calm. It's chill. Twisted Minds, here's what's going on to the west of Cerberus. They're, again, just content to let this continue to go on. We have Question Mark as well as FaZe and 17.
Ну, Церберы не готовы отдавать гору. Прям уверенно заняли ее со всех сторон, атакуют.
Yeah, Navi's got to make a move, and they're the only ones that are kind of on the outside looking in currently. Donald found enough space on the eastern edge of the hill, so they're going to load up. Phase 4 Blue is going to tick them down a bit, but they should be able to get back in.
Так, команда Нави пытается здесь заехать в зону, занять какую-то позицию. Занимают пока ямку. Слева у них команда номер 17 и главные противники. Так, и начинается стычка. Ой-ой-ой-ой.
Is going to be Xiao Wu that gets an opening knock.
I just love how aggressive 17 Gaming is here. The circle shifts away from them. They got a clear space, and it's a follow-up grenade from Xiao Wu.
Умирает один игрок команды Нави, один лежит нокнутый. Очень плохая позиция. Как минимум одного игрока они уже потеряли. Фейзы тут едут под шумок. Команда 17 начинает раздавать. Церберы под шумочек тоже накидывают. Так, начинают нокать команду 17. Так, Нави восстановились, трое живы. При этом всего один килл.
Helen just kind of lost track of where the farmost left player from TE was. It was Ninja 2K, and Salute had seen him, but
команда Wildcard Gaming приехала сюда воевать. Очень много команд на горе.
try to skirt around the edges of Wildcard, but you see Wildcard being really diligent about checking all these angles, sending Nikos down. It's a solo mission.
Подставляется.
Salute does pick him up. We still have the firefight going on between 17 and Navi down to the south as it is going to be Uba going
У Нави минус, опять нокнутый, опять лежит. Уба. Добивают Убаха. Остается один экзимпл. Или кто там, Мел остался. Очередная провальная игра от Нави. Очередная провальная карта. Вторая карта подряд суперфинала последнего дня. Всего лишь один фраг делают. И мне кажется, для них уже все потеряно. Команда Твист. Пока 0 киллов в этой игре. На этой карте. Церберы по-прежнему четверо, по-прежнему держат гору. Я думаю, что Церберы на этой карте должны делать красиво. Finds a finish, finds another knock, and it's just Lil Ghost.
Last one up. He's trying to survive, and his eyes are set on Navi. He knows where he is, and he's like, okay, if I'm going to go down, I'm at least going to take somebody that is in the chase with me. Nade's coming out for it. Lil Ghost wants to try to stall out what's going on with QM, but there's a lot of shots starting to come over here. Dante starting to move into this angle. Mel wants to try to move into a gatekeeping point for it. Now, Lil Ghost, what are you going to try to do?
Летит граната. Эх, чуть-чуть не долетает.
The lack of aggression from Lil Ghost likely meant that there was going to be an opportunity that he was going to try to take to get the Reds. The Reds is going to come through as Ganante's grenade came up just a bit shy of finding the mark on a 17. So two up and running Lil Ghost.
Растет опять перевес команды номер 17. Было, по-моему, 4 килла в начале игры. Сейчас уже 8 киллов. Ой, сейчас будет граната хорошая, мне кажется. Нокают Спара.
Cerberus is just absolutely just neutral party in all of this. They want to take as many points as they can off of whoever they can. They're doing a great job of it. Lil Ghost, and now he gets some help again. It's going to be Tycon.
Убивают игрока команды Нави последнего. Его убивают, но он отправляет машину и сбивает игрока. Что происходит? 17 в соло, блять, убивает троих. Просто что-то нереальное. Один отправил машину, одного убил, второго сбил, и третий в итоге забирает троих. Вот эта команда. Уже 11 очков перевеса сделали себе. Команда номер 17 вообще не готова отдавать позиции.
Isaki's doing a wonderful job. I mean, it's so steep. It's near impossible for EU here unless they could somehow get over a ridge line. Maybe they get lucky. Someone takes the pressure off.
Церберы просто, блять, рвут. 11-12 киллов. 12 киллов, их четверо. И это просто, это не люди, это звери. Они пошли лутать их. Сейчас вернутся в зону. Команда The Experience до сих пор жива. 3 человек их еще. Хотя тут такой замес был на горе, столько команд сюда приезжало. И команда The Experience все равно показывает нам повтор, как сбивает игрока. Ну, тут остается лишь кричать Церберы, Церберы.
17 is...
They can't have a bad game.
No, they can't. Not on Erangel.
It's impossible for 17 to have a bad game. Third place, 9 kills. Oh, darn. That is just the absolute worst.
Yeah, this feels bad, right? No, not at all.
Я думаю, Церберы не будут просто так отдавать победу. Они будут за нее драться до последнего.
An opportunity for him to make the cross. Now, Hisaki is trying to kind of watch his position, show they're still waiting. It looks like he found a vehicle, actually. He's making a drive.
Where is he going to go? I guess he's going to try to wrap into this one. Cerberus actually can have a massive come up.
Так, нокают они шоу с командой номер 17. Это 13-й фраг для команды. Так, и остаются 4 в 3. Команда The Experience, которая второй день у нас уже находится на последнем месте. За счет этой игры вышли на 14-ю позицию. Прямое попадание гранатой. Повторная граната летит туда же. Нет, перелетает чуть дальше. Будут ли они пушить сейчас 4 в 3 или нет? Убивают. 4 в 2 остается. Ой-ой-ой. Нокают 2 игроков команды Цербер. Вот это поворот. Все, команда Цербер победили. Вторую карту они забирают. Вот тебе и Церберы. Настоящие псы, блядь.
What a great finish. That's a big one for them, too. I mean, Cerberus, this is a massive come up, but the Expendables needed some points, and they picked up a lot of kills. Don't ever forget about Duck Juice. We talk about superstars all the time. He is trying for his team so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I said in an interview before this event that if there was any team to watch out for that could surprise people, it was these boys.
Церберы настоящие псы, не зря я их на них глаз положил еще с начала турнира. Еще даже не с начала турнира, а на отборочных.
I am still just astounded that what they were capable of doing. That is, I don't think that I've seen a team be that dominant on Everest in a long, long time.
До топ-1 им далеко, конечно, но мое почтение. Вчера взяли топчик, сегодня взяли топчик. Молодцы. Напомню, я в начале старта стрима говорил, но у меня был выключен микрофон, что мое почтение команде Цербера, они вчера находились на последнем месте, на 16-м месте они были. А сейчас они как минимум топ-6, топ-5. Красавчики. Прям молодцы.
Takes the top of Everest, and they just run it from there, right? I mean, it was just a ridiculous amount of points that they were able to pick up for themselves. And, you know, I think they got a little bit of help as well with some of those weird circle shifts, too.
Oh, they did? Yeah, I mean, in general here with Everest,
сейчас, наверное, будет небольшой перерыв. Скоро вернусь.
Not so good for everyone else trying to chase the very top guys. And then FaZe Clan, Na'Vi, they tried to take them down here, but it's just insane. Like, Lil Ghost is just too good.
I mean, look, 17, it took, what, Na'Vi, FaZe Clan, QM, all of them, and they still had one left alive. Like, 17 is
if
just...
it wasn't for the car.
They can't be killed, man. They're the unkillable demon kings.
Use cars.
It's ridiculous.
It's like Hulk trying to throw cars. You know, like, oh,
no, but it really was.
Everything
I mean,
you can.
In that fight in particular, we saw Na'Vi fighting with 17, and FaZe was like, oh, we'll third party this. And then 17 somehow turned themselves into the third party in that fight. Like, they just seem unstoppable. And then, end of the game, we go to the top of Everest, a nice little standoff between the Expendables and Cerberus. Poro. Cerberus looks good. Tycon, I think, turning back on a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it helps by having the top of the mountain and nobody really kind of pressuring you. I mean, Twisted Minds was holding on to that eastern or western edge rather, and you had fights going on the eastern side. I mean, Cerberus was able to take over literally the entire top of Everest, take care of everything on the north side, third-party things onto the south side. 3,154 damage.
That's a 3K club.
3K club. How
Lots
many of
damage.
those we got?
Not many.
Not many.
I don't think we've even got one. 12 grenades, but only one smoke. If you can win a game, if you can win a game with one smoke, in my book, you're using the terrain to your advantage exactly how it should be. Executed perfectly in this situation here. And we saw it, and these guys have been proving it to us throughout. Also, what we saw from Haisaki yesterday, that double headshot, some of the nastiest spray frames I've seen so far here at PGC 2022. And now them wiping multiple teams, maintaining control, and staying 4 guys alive for that for that long is just super impressive.
I mean, group stages, it was the darlings of APAC, right? I mean, that's all we could talk about was, oh my God, how much this region has just kind of stepped up and found their place here at international level competition. And then it kind of started slowing down a little bit during the beginning here of the grand finals. But you know, this might be one of those games, obviously. I mean, we talk about that big game that just kind of snowballs your confidence that you can pick up off of, and all of a sudden everything that was wrong is now right, and you feel confident in pushing and taking your own destiny into your own hands.
Best week of Xenox's life. Let's take a look at the match leaderboards. 24 points for Cerberus going their way, and yet again, 17 Gaming comes out with 14. Question Mark does get 9, but Martin, I swear, it's felt like half of Europe was working together to get rid of 17, and they just couldn't do it.
They did, eventually. With some help.
With some help.
But yeah, 3 teams.
14 киллов, 24 тотал.
They were trying to
разнесли.
make a good play with some smoking across the road, but everybody else was trying to gatekeep them. We saw Na'Vi trying to gatekeep. We saw Question Mark eventually, obviously getting our car kill on Lil Ghost, but Lil Ghost was just insane. Xiao Wu did insane, like 14 points there. If somebody doesn't stop them today, they're going to be unstoppable for the last day.
I mean, that's one of my problems.
Oh, three points off the 1K club.
Oh, 3 points off the 1K club. I mean, this is big, though, and when we talk about 17, it's because all 4 of the players are doing well.
14 киллов за эту игру.
In that same conversation up to this point, we've kind of always talked about 1 or 2 players popping off.
Почти 1000 дэмэджа у Тайкана. Почти 1000 дэмэджа у Химуса. Почти 3200 общего. Жестко, жестко. Нави очень расстраивал. Цербер топ-5, 75 тотал. Еще одна игра такая, и они, блядь, уже будут на топ-3 претендовать. Команда Твиста тоже провальную игру сыграла сейчас. Провальная карта была.
Right back down to 9th. I mean, that's how close all these guys are. That's got to be the most tilting thing on earth.
Команда 17 по красоте, просто по красоте делает. Команда настроена, уверена и доказывает это.
Let me ask you, Poro. I was going to say, we have one chance. If you are, I mean, I know you've coached. I know you coached the Rumblers and got them to do pretty well there in Sweden. What would you tell these guys? How do you stop 17?
Well, first of all, just keep letting Europe try to fight them. That's what you do. Just keep letting, just keep throwing bodies at them. It doesn't seem to be having much effect because they still manage to get
everybody. 3 игроков проверяют с металлоискателем.
You can't think about 17, right? You got to play your own game. You got to think about yourself. You got to try to play the best to the your team's ability to play to your winning conditions, and just whatever happens with 17 is going to happen, you know?
Well, we're going to see what happens with 17 in just a few moments. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's game number 3.
Да, третья игра. Третья карта. Последний рангель. Затем 2 Мирамара. Кача, блядь.
Going to have a good opportunity for this grade.
He's in stones on the side of that.
One's on my body.
Up on the wall.
You should aggro that side.
Molly at everything. Maiden Molly drop.
Так, 6 минут перерыв. Я думаю, еще пару минут потом будут, пока все включат, запустят игру. Поэтому около 10 минут перерыв, скорее всего. Ждем. Ждем. Тур-ту-ту.
Just stay over there, Greg. Stay over there, Greg. Yeah, I'm just taking cards.
去管那两个人啊，我感觉。He's just pointing on the rock. Shack, last one, Shack.
你帮我打一个球，喂喂。
Так, кто смотрит записи, не забывайте лайки прожимать. Для вас стримлю. Для тех, кто хочет посмотреть эту запись. Прожимайте лайки, подписывайтесь на канал.
Guess what? Wildcard's not done. They're gonna move out of their high ground position.
천천히. We need to go. We need to go towards it. 야 태영아, 차 끌고. 여기 가봐. I put a spike down. Two knock. 자 연막 쳐. 연막 많아. 나 투다. You got to go left. Go left and kill him. Nice. I'm gonna take zone. I can see everything. I'm getting smoke out. I'm there. Hey, กูต้องขับมายิงขวาโอเคสี่กูถ่ายกลับลงไปก่อนกูสมมุติกลับมาได้ไหมปืนกลับได้พร้อมกันด้วยรอก่อน I'm throwing smokes towards him guys One's going to knock him just shoot everybody สวยอย่าเพิ่งน็อกนะไม่มีกูมีไฟมาที่กูแฟด5 ลูกมาชุบนะพี่บิน push this guy on the mountain then peek the right มันน่าจะไม่ใช่มึงหาไฟไปได้นะ
Here we go, moving forward. It is gonna be a massive kill.
No! Let's go, guys. Good job. 22 kills. 22 kills.
Megabot now looking into GEX, doing some good.
Вот там БГП, криксы. Нам это сейчас закрыться лес.
У нас спину надо.
Подождите, они подерутся, мы сами туда приедем.
3번 QM, 3번에 BBL.
Они вообще вдвоем.
Они стреляют, да.
Пиво ног. Там ног можно спиздить, Соник.
Я спиздил.
Еще ног.
Они нокнули.
Байк,
хорошо.
БГП, байк. 킬도 다 뺏겼나?
And then there is just one up over in that position.
I'm flying in hard, I'm waiting for you. Catch one reaches. One more there. Burn short as well. Under the bridge almost. Bring up to the bridge now.
Chỗ này còn rìa này còn mò này thì nó bơi vào được đấy.
They seem firmly committed to ruining a lot of teams' days back.
Còn anh cái đường biên bo còn anh nhìn cái hướng anh chuẩn bị vào bo tiếp đi xem như nào. Đó bắn đầu cái anh xem kêu đó. Một của nó mặt này kêu được anh ạ. Cao bên trái chạy được. Nhìn nó phải.
끝났어. 영막 쳐줘. 빨리
왼쪽으로. 아, được rồi. Có đi bên một.
But he's done it. Levies has gotten ahead of Bagel Pa. That's gonna put them up into 4th place.
Nhìn trên đầu anh ơi, xem trên đầu như nào. Ui. Anh hơn thằng kia rồi.
We have Cerberus that's got a very strong control area that they're playing up on the high ground.
一会儿可以封右边烟，跟右边打。
能救吗？我封到烟了，可以救。
死了就死了，没办法。
王总 OK 吗？
王总，我觉得可以。
我往前走了，救不了。往前走，你去先趴着。
我看一个吧。
封烟了。
係。就打佢埋上咯。
別抬太高，封上面煙懂嗎？
要喺邊打㗎？
飛過嚟。
你上咯。
給我打一個。慢慢磨。
我呢個呢，我哋分散點。把槍trái bắn như vậy.
Có thằng gốc cây gần có. Nó hoàng dưới đang bò dưới chứ mà. Em hết đồ rồi. Đó rồi.
Thì máu quả trước mặt mày đi solo. Che chỗ kia luôn. Thằng bỏ.
我想往上走了。
别往上面走点。
往右上走行嗎？往右上走。
这个石头有个人。右位死。Chặn nó. Rồi. Như vậy sợ. Biết tông rồi, yên hội.
Nó một cố từ từ.
No, he's gone. It's gonna be Cerberus.
I don't.
Folks are now starting to line up onto it. Are they just trying to get a running start with their vehicles? Yep.
We stopped in front of us.
Knock one.
Nice.
ต้นไม้ขวาเลยได้ป่ะดูได้วะไม่ได้วะเฮีย
What west stage? It's west.
I'm coming with you, YT.
They're behind the tree, like 5 minutes behind it. Pick a right, two guys.
Knock one.
一起兄弟们一起烟那个右边烟的
It's 3 enemies right now. I think T5 is 2. Try to lose one, okay?
ผมมาปั๊มยานะพี่ต้นเฮ้ยปั๊มเลยลองดูทำมิ่งขวา
Hey, no, spell not still. I'm ready.
ไปมาน้องหนึ่งสวยขวาได้
Maybe pushing. Come, we need to pick this. I'm gonna flash them. You guys do that, okay?
Yeah. I'm gonna throw here. I'm gonna throw here.
右边树有一个跳过去了，看见没？石头有，看见了。好，第2แล้วว่ะต้องเล่นว่ะเลยบาดเจ็บมาก
Press. Both there. Same place. Both same place. They're pushing. On me.
One knock.
One up. Yes!
The FaZe does manage to pick up their chicken dinner and is going to the grand finals.
Так, ну что, стартует третья карта.
17
Gaming just quite one. Game start. Смотрим. Третий рангер. Всего 3 игры до чемпионства одной из команд. Да, первыми начинают падать команды TMI, EU, EQ, OR, Данава, Яхи. Так, твисты. Твисты опять летят в свои позиции. Школа. Нави. Нави, я думаю, полетят дальше. Но посмотрим, очень интересно.
He's just dumb. I mean, that double spray that he had on QM when they were driving at him, yeah, sure, they ran him over, but he got 2 of them before they got there. I mean, just absolutely nuts what he's able to do individually. Show, of course, is
игрок команды Данава упал с одним из свистов.
Substitution player for this, of course, Shalbei, had visa issues, couldn't make it to this event, but Suju has stepped up masterfully for them.
So here's the question: do Twisted Minds pick up like Egon or Peter Venkman? like who is the go-to pick?
I'm an Egon kind of guy, so it may not surprise you. As,
yeah, I know.
That's I got a science degree in school, so yeah, I was kind of an Egon guy.
I mean, he is pretty good too. All right, looking through playing path, you can see that it was leaning in.
Да, Нави летят опять в свои позиции, туда к фарму ближе. Так, в этот раз зона в другой стороне.
Top in the charts, but Soul not too far behind him. He's had a big 4-kill game today, so it seems like the kills come in bunches for Soul, and that's that's Donovan in general. It seems like one player or another is popping off, but they are never.
Так, показывают нам повтор.
Sometimes, except for that one game, all on the same page, and even in that game, they ended up, not being on the same page in the very final moment. So, but Salute has been doing this stuff all year, for the last 2 years. I've seen him win so many 1vx's in Korea. He's just absolutely disgusting. This guy has just ice in his veins when it comes to these moments.
He's just playing this so well. Like, look at how he just uses the terrain to his advantage and just pulls wildcard exactly where he wants every single one.
Yeah, I mean, he beat Twisted Minds by himself earlier in the tournament. I mean, he had a perfectly cooked grenade, and it was funny because he was yelling. They got the comms for him, and they put it in one of the highlight reels, and he's like, "I heard you." He's like, "I heard the footsteps," and he cooked a grenade perfectly, to win a big one for Donawa, just to be here in the grand finals.
Look at the damage numbers that we saw Cerberus putting up there. They were just raining hellfire on every single team that was below Everest, and it was. I still am astounded at the fact that they just were breaking apart, holding the top of that, and just holding back E United and Twisted Minds at the same time.
Yeah, nobody could get up that hill. I mean, that's pretty rare. Usually, eventually, somebody figures out a way to find either that west or eastern flank.
You run out of ammo, you run out of something.
Oh, maybe, yeah. But, I mean, in general, I'm talking more like there are two ways to get up that hill, right? Either on the east or on the west. And eventually, typically, someone figures it out. But it just never happened. And, you know, it was a lot of chaos on both sides, of course. But also, the credit has to go to Cerberus because they were doing, especially on that western side where Twisted Minds was, they did not give Twisted Minds any space.
Yeah, that was just absolutely wild shutdown. And again, momentum now mounting as they are just 3 points behind Na'Vi, and they need to start quaking in their boots a little bit. So Na'Vi, the first 2 games today, let's be real, circles have been kind of wild. So it's been harder for some of the teams to find points. Most notably, it is going to be Na'Vi and United. Twisted Minds doing a good job on finding some salvage, but 17 Gaming just consistent all the time is still climbing up that leaderboard.
And Navi's still kind of riding on their points from day one, and they need to step it up. They need to pick it up. But I mean, I will say for fans of Navi and Twisted
Команда
Minds, they've been really,
Цербер
really good on Miramar.
с 16 места. Топ-5 сейчас занимает.
Starting to feel a little more comfortable, maybe a little bit more excited for those teams, especially Twisted Minds is absolutely nuts on Miramar. They've been disgusting. They've won so many games. I think 3 out of their 4 wins have been Miramar, maybe all 4. I don't know.
I'm just still astounded by this leaderboard. Okay.
Команда, я думаю, которая в гранд-финале, ну, типа, одно из лучших выступлений именно в гранд-финале. Да, они и до этого тоже играли хорошо очень.
I guess this is the 3/4 of the way through match, right?
Yeah, I mean 6th, 10th is nuts. I mean a win for Day Trader QM as well just rockets them up to 6th place. So
В начале турнира в сетке винеров они хорошо сидели.
With how top heavy this lobby has been, the middle tends to get compacted, and you know, the pressure starts to be put on them, and every placement point matters for them. Every kill, everything starts to really add up because, you know, again, every spot you change on the leaderboard changes your money by tens of thousands of dollars. So absolutely a lot to play for, a lot to keep track of, a lot of excitement. Even if your team's not in the lead, there's still a lot going on, a lot to root for. That's what makes PUBG beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you can do the pick'ems, you can do fantasy, you can get involved in all of that stuff.
Смотрим за Нави, как обычно.
Absolutely astounding to watch the best of the best and how they
Смотрим за Нави.
It's just mind-boggling the way that specifically.
Очень хочется, чтобы у них наконец-таки уже все получилось. Начали они играть. Впереди 3 карты, у них есть все шансы, абсолютно все. Условно 50 киллов за 3 карты можно отыграть. Но опять же все зависит от команды номер 17. Они могут зубами вгрызаться, так сказать, во все эти карты и просто не дать никакого шанса ни одной из команд догнать их.
You know, this is what matters most, right? This is PGC.
What do we have going on here?
Ой-ой-ой. Команда номер 17 находит 2 Twisted Minds. И кажется, сейчас будет замес. Опять же, нужно быть аккуратными, чтобы не потерять ни одного игрока. Видать, знают, где кто падает уже, и приехали. Приехали закрывать твистов, чтобы они не могли догнать, не имели возможности догнать команду номер 17. Но приезжают сюда уже 2 игрока команды Twist. И сейчас будет что-то очень интересное. 4 в 4.
So now it's all just a matter of seeing who gets the peak first. You can see both teams playing this very, very safe, realizing how important.
Вряд ли кто-то будет проявлять активность. Такая достаточно пассивная игра, скорее всего, сейчас будет. До ошибки.
Xiaowu has a bolt. He is looking to see if he can catch somebody sleeping. And see if he can find that opening knock. That would be oh so crucial in this fight. Whoever finds the first one, it almost feels like they are just going to use that to steamroll the other. Now, there is the option here for 17 that they can potentially back out of this if they can get Lil Ghost out of his 2-story and just you know, say, okay, this fight we bit off more than we could chew. Let's see if we can retreat. But I mean, with the first and second place team here, I mean, this is a nail biter. This is so tense.
This could pretty much cement how the leaderboard is going to be looking for at least the remainder of the day. Now, Perfectix, the rest of the team, they know this. They know that they need to make something happen here as 17 has just had the pedal all the way down and just flooring it up that leaderboard, going as fast as possible, but no weakness that is found right now by Twisted Minds. They are doing such a great job of holding this together. And look, you can see Xiaolu's moving everywhere just to see if he can spot something, and there is nothing. Twisted Minds isn't even opening a small gap in their defense.
Yeah, the call here for Twisted Minds is to just hide and to, you know, hold angles and not give any opportunity for 17 to find one of those shots. And I'm not sure if the Bolt ever took a shot for Xiaolu or not. Couldn't quite tell myself if I ever heard one come through. Spiral just checking the corner.
Опять же, не будем команду EU списывать. United со счетов. Потому что команда уверенно заняла топ-3. И я думаю, они тоже не хотят опускать свой шанс. И, скорее всего, будут делать все для этого. А им намного меньше нужно очков, чем для Нави или Церберов, чтобы выскочить в топ-1. Ну, догнать лидирующие команды.
With some of the noise being made over here, but so far nobody has been keen to try to take advantage of it. It's only Circle 1, so it's a lot more, you know, difficult to kind of justify trying to come in here and, you know, make some noise and try to expose yourself, right? If you come out on a hill or something, you might get taken out yourself for reaching out that far. And yeah, Donowan's the only one who's even made an attempt.
It's crazy how just going out and exposing yourself causes so many problems in life. Now, looks like the slow roll is going to be continuing over here as the circle does move away from this position.
Нави достаточно неплохая позиция, центр карты. Сзади едут две команды, опять же. Главное, чтобы они вовремя успели это увидеть. Происходит тут замес. Команда QM против команды D. Ой-ой, высаживают игрока команды The Experience. Поднимать его не собираются. Так, Нави занимают фраг. Забирают фраг под шумок. Ой-ой-ой. Есть ног от команды Twist. Сейчас будет окружать Лу. Уносит своего. Уносит своего. Поднимет, поднимет. Сейчас будут, наверное, подпушивать, кидать гранаты. Ой-ой-ой, Лу забивает Лил Коста. 4 в 3. Приехали 17 Gaming атаковать твистов, но в итоге твисты забирают одного из команды номер 17. Как бы это ни было ошибкой для команды номер 17. Мне кажется, они, если бы поехали куда-то в другое место, они там могли намного больше настрелять. Сидеть сейчас в 4-3 не в зоне, не лучший вариант. Мне так кажется. Им надо что-то предпринимать. Пока их трое, они могут еще что-то сделать. И, может быть, даже очень много. Поэтому, может быть, есть смысл отступить.
not fun. They are rather nasty.
Trying to find a very cheeky angle into this one. So maybe you can spot out Xiao Wu as well. Nade prepped up. I think that he knows where he is.
Греет гранату.
The cook, is he going for the window? Is he going for Xiao Wu? He's going to do the toss over there. I don't think it's going to connect. Yeah, building's going to go ahead and deny, but that's going to start revealing more. Batulins now cleaning out.
Так, отогнали снайпера. Сейчас могут вчетвером запушить двоих.
Xiao Wu reading this. Look at these just counter moves. This is an absolute 200 IQ firefight from both.
Отогнали снайпера команды номер 17. Сейчас вчетвером можно запушить.
At least a little bit open, not very wide open. Show here looking for the grenade. As Spyro had taken some damage, got the heal out.
Ой-ой, не попадает. Не попадает Window.
But he needs to start healing up as we are in phase 3 blue, and this one ticks pretty good.
Spyro's like, no, I'm not gonna risk it running by that window. Instead, gonna crawl around underneath of it. This is also a stall on both of these teams, which means the fact that priority positioning is starting to go over to everybody else. They're gonna be coming into this late no matter what.
This is an ego fight. I mean, this is absolutely nothing but I mean,
Так, показывают там команды Ехол.
because if you can knock 17 out, that's better than not. And now you have Levi's.
Так, команда The Experience здесь окружают КДФы.
Just a moment, indeed, he is in the Guangdong Freaks once again, losing players in rotation in the early game.
Night and day difference between the sounds going around over here as now we go back over to the more quiet side as Show is creeping forward. Spyro holding down the vehicle.
Опасная ситуация. Один из твистов отъехал отсюда.
So with this Batulins now starting to slow creep in. Shows you can see just trying to make sure that he doesn't give up anything.
Шоу против Спара. Есть выход. Греет гранату. Кидает гранату. Она улетает дальше. У самого мало хитов. Опасно очень выходит. Сейчас могут его нокнуть. Подъезжает сюда Лу. Шу прячется. Нет, мне кажется, это конечное для команды номер 17 здесь будет сейчас. У меня такое ощущение почему. Есть нок. И его уже здесь не поднимут. Его здесь уже не поднимут, да, убивают его. Твисты остаются 4 в 2, будут уезжать отсюда. Да, скорее всего, поедут в зону. Двое едут в зону, остаются 2 в 2. 17 убивают твистов там. Убивают одного из твистов. Команда Донава тут сражается с командой Дэй. Донава уничтожает команду Дэй.
And speaking of damage, Suju might be knocked by the blue. Indeed, he is. Perfectix had done enough by the time Suju got through the window that the blue was going to finish the rest. And Xiao Wu, maybe we get the replay, please, please, please. Hopefully, we can see how that shot onto Lu. That would be. Oh my God, he hit Perfectix.
Oh, is it going to be enough?
I don't know if Perfectix has enough time to heal. Yep, he does not.
And so he's going to go down. Nade still popping.
И сейчас, наверное, откиснет от зоны. Да, умирает от зоны. Команда 17 Gaming умирает полностью. Убирают здесь Тайкана. Команда Церберов тоже разваливается. Ой-ой-ой, что происходит? Команда E-United, команда Нави, ТМ, Йоки, УР, Вилкер, Пейз и EQ пока в полном составе. У нас будет новый победитель в этой игре. Ой-ой-ой. Пушат тут команду QM, убивают одного игрока. Команда Донава поднимает своего, тем временем пушат других. Команду ЕУ тут закрывают. Да, у команды ЕУ тоже проблемы. Теряют они 2 игроков. Команда ТМА. Есть ног. Продолжается. Здесь пуш сбивает своего. Да, сбивает своего насмерть игрок команды Донава. Ой-ой-ой.
But we also still have a fight that's going on in so many different places. We have Na'Vi that's trying to hold out Twisted Minds just to the northwest of this. Danawa is still just trying to cling to life in what is a desperation fight over here against Hobbits. They still need to move in. Hobbits
нокают игрока команды Нави. Убивают. Нави убивают твистов. Что происходит? Я не успеваю комментировать это. Я не выпил еще столько, чтобы переваривать столько информации. Кажется, на этой карте у нас будет новый победитель. Хотя команда Wildcard в полном составе еще. А они уже были победителями. Нави делают 4 килла.
Sin is going to come out from Na'Vi. It looks like they're making a push into heaven while this firefight is happening. Greg Shot's just doing a
Wildcard делают минус 3. Начинают пушить. Ошибается игрок команды Wildcard. Оу.
Greg Shot putting that level 3 gear to great use. Of course, the AUG is phenomenal, but the level 3 gear saved him in one of those fights. He was able to go back, heal up, come back into that fight and finish the job. Really
Так, Нави неплохая позиция, но тут подъезжают игроки другой команды. Но по ним есть прострел от других. Фу-фу-фу. Также команда Ихо сидит вдвоем. Три команды в полном составе. Пу-пу-пу-пу-пу.
Okay, now 3 teams over in heaven is not enough. Let's go ahead and add a fourth, as it is going to be over peakers. They're going to take.
Команда OP подтягиваются сюда тоже. Будут они тут сражаться с командой The Experience. Нави 6 киллов тем временем.
Just scrambling to try to get forward, to try to find these grenades at the point man. Still quite a few in the bag. Gonna blow up.
Так, взрывают машину.
I think he might have just caught a glimpse of the backside of TE there, and that one is going to be Levy's, and it didn't actually catch them. James takes one in the face himself.
Just going to continue to toss him down. It looks like UP is going to use this to try to make a mad dash, and he's going to be sending it right down underneath of Yahoo, hoping the fact that they might be able to protect him. The Overpeaker's still going to continue their utility dropping, as Wildcard looks like they're starting to also find phase as they were stretching into the forest over next to Mansion.
Yeah, OP safe now as nobody's behind them. Nico's here, going to win that up close and personal.
Так, есть выход команды Wildcard. Убивают двух игроков команды FaZe.
We have Overpeaker's Bard that was taking some shots over at Wildcard, as well as Overpeaker's just going to continue. Is it just rotating who has nades at the time? 777 did move down this hillside, so if Overpeaker's does choose to overpeak this, they could find themselves getting dropped pretty quick.
Yeah, it's tough for Overpeakers here because they have to rely on nades to do damage to the expendables. Because if they push this hill, Navi's just going to lay into him with their guns. Going for the res on a cow who had been knocked by a molly from Fex. Gustav has been res for FaZe, so...
Так, FaZe своего подняли одного в итоге. Так, команда OP убивает команду The Experience.
That was absolutely
Просто вышли, убили. Команда Wildcard пытается здесь отступить, Фейс их не отпускают. Нави оказывается не в позиции, не в зоне. Надо тоже сейчас менять позицию. Так, и команда OP начинает атаку на Нави.
Like underneath the hill, hell, that little dip that's out there, because, well, nobody wants to be there because a lot of teams find their doom there. But yeah, I like Sky Garden.
Поджидают, поджидают.
I like it as well. I mean, and honestly, neither one are in the sky.
Да, не хотят отпускать.
Here's a funny one. You know what they call a potato mountain in Korea?
What's that?
They call it Bald Mountain. They named after me.
Oh, well, did they?
No.
No, I was gonna say. That's all right. Now it's gonna be Overpeakers. Just looking at that again. That is so good. Now Navi's got Overpeakers to deal with.
Так, Нави обороняются.
They're gonna start doing some throwables out here, and Overpeakers now with the sounds coming out. It's gonna be QM trying to run in. You can see that they're gonna get dropped by Yoho at range. Navi's just gonna try to make.
Так, команда Фейс тем временем делают килл. Подставляется один из игроков Wildcard. Еще один. Еще один. Команда Wildcard просто хотели перепушить команду Фейс и разбиваются, блин. Просто разбились. Команда Фейс не теряет ни одного игрока. Битва 4 в 3.
That he has. Just beautiful work from him and FaZe to hold that. Well, Wildcard seemed like they had the advantage. Seemed like they were pressing, had FaZe on the back foot, could not convert on.
И только команда OP остается в полном составе. Сделав 6 фрагов, не потеряв ни одного игрока.
We have also the 3 solos that are just kind of hanging around the drop down into the center of the circle. FaZe, you can see they did manage to right themselves, and they are now going to try to figure out what is even happening in the rest of the circle. But it's not hard to figure out. It's going to be mostly around the heaven area, as looks like Navi is going to lean into the north of this. FaZe is going to spot.
Так, подставляется здесь последний игрок команды QM.
Now their position is revealed. That means that Navi is going to start taking some shots of their own at him.
И видят его, видят, куда стреляют. Команда УЭ хотят забрать еще один фраг очередной. Хотят запушить игрока команды QM. Получается у них сделать еще один килл.
Circle did shift into heaven though, so while FaZe had control over the circle and had vision forever, now they are going to be the only team that really has to move in, and that's going to be pretty open.
Будет лутать его сейчас. Так, выход от команды Фейс. Едут втроем. Там сидит игрок команды ТМ. И тут команда УР под шумок идет тоже. И команда Нави тоже идет сюда. Есть килл! Есть 2! Команда Нави забирает команду Фейс. И тут сразу выходит OP. Нави теряет 2 игроков. Остается один только Убош. И кажется, что команда OP тут уверенно займет первое место. Да, убивают команду Нави. И все, остается только один Йох. Команда Нави делает 8 киллов по итогу в этой игре. В целом неплохо. Но это надо было делать раньше. Всего 2 карты осталось. Команде Нави уже, я думаю,
hope of making this work.
Лучше не рассчитывать на топ-1 что-то.
Maybe he can just try to find a flank around the edge, just try to confuse.
Максимум удержать свою позицию, ну, либо попробовать топ-3 занять.
Damage utility to work with. It's just a matter of finding it.
Yeah, and you can see the overpeakers.
Также команда Twist тоже начинает терять свои шансы. Всего 2 карты остались.
So Punaj might be able to get the drop. I feel like this is just going to be more about trying to secure a point that more than anything else. Just try to flush somebody out.
He's got a pump shotgun. I would have liked to have seen him play for the house with that situation there. You can maybe get up on top, find some grenades down the stairs, you know, maybe get lucky with a few of those, and then he might get one.
Идут, а он отвернулся. Все. Команда УПИ. Оверпикерс. Команда Оверпикерс забирает 3-ю карту.
Despite their name, you might expect that they overcommit. They do not. They are very, very well disciplined at times. I mean, yes, we see them lose solo players, but when it comes to these late game team fights, they are absolutely really solid.
Hey, I
Ну
love
что ж, ждем 4-ю карту.
Now looking through this one, we finally had 17 show some signs of weakness. We had the top of the leaderboard finally start going down, so those guys that were in the middle of the pack maybe can start assaulting up, seeing if they can sneak in there. Destiny isn't quite done, and more money is still on the table.
Yeah, this was a huge win in a way, like a moral victory for the side of Twisted Minds, and let's see what our desk has to make of it. Guys, what do you think?
I think it was an exciting game from the arm wrestling competition in the blue to the ending in Sky Garden. It was exciting, but ultimately Overpeakers comes through. They hunt down the last member of Yahoo.
He was sneaky.
He was a very sneaky little man.
He was trying to. I mean, look, we saw Punaj have some success for Yahoo in the the winners bracket, losers bracket, where they clutched themselves out of grand finals position.
In the same area.
Yeah, right in the same area. But I mean, right from the beginning, though, I mean, everybody.
Так, зайду в Дискорд, Егорик, я думаю, скоро может подойти, если что. Пообщаемся с ним здесь. Так, сейчас чекаем, работает микрофон. Раз. Да, все работает. Отлично.
Honestly, in this case here, like I would love to see
Продолжаем
this happen
стрим.
again tomorrow if it's the same case. Like they're the last 2 teams to fight for first place, right?
Так, небольшая пауза и стартует 4-я игра.
And then just let's see who wins, and that's who wins the tournament. It's just a hot drop win, right?
Why not? It'll be fun.
I also like that in the last, I mean, it really was like both of these teams said, you know what, TM goes, everybody else couldn't kill you in the last game.
Right.
We're going to show that we are okay with going in a 4v4, and I think technically they came out on top.
They came out on top. They had 4 guys alive when they tried to leave, but then they said, you know, get back here. And then Lou got yeeted
found
out
out the hard way that you can't just leave a fight like that.
And also they left so late that once you see in the next couple of circles, you're just going to get damaged and they're not going to get any points further, right? And then it makes it not worth it compared to, yeah, sure, they could win the battle, but...
And while that was the talk of the match, the big chicken does go to Overpeakers. These guys played very, very well. They filled in behind Na'Vi. They didn't push when they didn't have to. And they did a great job of sort of cleaning up all of the chaos down there on the low ground and then just coming up to finish the hunt for the Canaries.
You call them the janitors, maybe?
Yep, kind of. But they look so aggressive, though. Like, they look so good whenever they're, like, just pushing and just W-keying into people. I mean, they made such short work of so many teams. Kept 4 up the whole time too. I mean, it was really impressive, man.
They are mechanically also extremely gifted. Also, you know, with utility in this case here, 23 nades.
Love the U.
Makes a lot of damage going their way, of course. I'm a little bit sad for Yahoo though. I gotta say they had this compound here as a full 4-man strong. They had a 2-2 split in the glass building on the southern side of the garage. Just didn't work out for them. They got breached by Na'Vi. They lost a few players throughout, and in that case, you can just sit back and hope to salvage. Yes, fine. It's fine to get 6 points from placement here, but they could have had much more if they're able to stick 4 guys together in this case.
And it's not the first time, right? Like, this is the second time now that, I mean, obviously shouting back to the Punaj game whenever they secured their grand final spot, but this is now 2 times that they've tried to hold this 2-2 split in heaven, and it has not worked for them. So, I mean, I know that they've got to be kicking themselves a little bit here because, I mean, that was obviously a beautiful position for them if they could have managed to keep all 4 up for the late game.
But for FaZe against Wildcard, like the fact that they were a little bit scrappy here and there, but in the end, once it came out in the open, they managed to do well. Then this push here, it's it's hard at this point here. You can't do much. You know that there's going to be a team on the northern side that's going to have control and it's going to be peeking you immediately, and you're going to be taken down like that. So it worked out to the kind of the best that they could. They also put themselves and got themselves out of kind of last place race a little bit, or got some points in the ball. In that case, more, yeah, which means that they're now kind of in the battle for that kind of lower mid pack, which is currently still a huge one. One more good game they could jump in, maybe contest top 10.
I mean, the only way FaZe can get there with that chaos is to push into a big fight, and the real benefactor of all of that was Punij, because before that chaos started, Punij was like, well, they're just gonna hunt me down. You saw him switch to the trench gun and hope for the best. Let's take a look at the match leaderboard. 21 total kills for Overpeakers. Na'Vi does get 13. And Poro, this is big news for Na'Vi. They're a scrappy team, but they've been starting to slide down the boards a little bit.
It was absolutely huge. I mean, they had a really bad 4 games at the end of yesterday, and today wasn't looking too much better, and now this is kind of a step in the right direction. Now 13 points, they're back in the mix, and I think that all of us that are fans of wanting to see a little bit tighter at top of the leaderboard here are rooting for him to kind of get back up there.
Overpeakers, winter team focus, all stars all the way across the board, but nothing seems too hard for Vard as he comes away with 6 kills and 400 damage to sort of bring it home for everyone.
I mean, what do you even say? Like, we talked about it, how they are the veteran team, right? They're the veteran squad, and this is kind of what we were expecting all along from them, if they could have just kind of get their heads in the right
They're calling
place.
themselves boomers, right, in this case here. 3 of the players and their coach Phosphase was back at 5 years ago at IEM Oakland, playing 3 different teams. Of course, Mexia and Phos were together in FaceClan at that point, but still, veteran team, legends of the game, have been playing professionally for 5 years.
It's interesting that you bring that up because that has been a bit of a story here. 17 is at 130 total points, being led by a player who's retiring at the end of this year that's been around forever. Twisted Minds being led by a player who knows the ins and outs, a true veteran. And then we've got young guns like E-United, like Cerberus, who have been leading the charge to the future of PUBG, showing up in this event and putting up some big numbers against the veterans, or the boomers, as Overpeakers put it.
Well, I mean, I guess they're all showing that it's not that easy, right? You can't just come in here and say you're going to take the crown. You got to beat the king first, right? And these guys showing that they might be a little bit more on the old side of our scene, but they still have plenty of fragging power left in them, and they are not going down without a fight, man. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
I believe that the old guys can beat A's. I believe they can claim their throne. Let's see if they can do it as we go into our next match. It is the Barons of Banter, Paper Thin, and Matchroom.
I like that one. I don't think I've heard that one before.
Oh, I did. The Barons of Banter. That's a good one.
That is nice, especially moving into Miramar.
Yes, exactly. I'm really, I mean, it kind of brings me some Dune vibes, some Baron Harkonnen vibes here, you know, as we get into it. Yeah, see, yeah. I mean, at Miramar time, 2 more games to go today, Matt. It's been a really good one. I mean, again, I love the ego fight between Twisted Minds and 17 in the previous game.
I want to point out something, too.
Sure.
Blue Ghost isn't our top killer anymore.
Who is it?
It is going to be Soul.
Oh my goodness, that makes my heart smile.
Yep, slowly creeping up there. Let's not count out any of our Danawa friends just quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, Soul and Salute, I mean, you saw what Salute can do on the side of that mountain in a couple games ago, but Soul he's on another level. I mean, he has been getting better and better and better these last couple of years. The way that Danawa has taken him and molded him into this superstar player is just phenomenal. He's just a great talent, and you'll have to see it. So, a pretty southwestern heavy plane path here, Matt. Maybe another southwest circle. My gut tells me this is like a south or east of Los Leones circle, but we'll see.
Overpeakers coming in, and looks like they're going to be landing just to the south of Los Leones. That's going to be the continuation of what we've been seeing on the Los Leones love, kind of, I guess, love affair going on between them and Entropic, as they are going to be able to get into a good position. And really, I'm kind of curious about this one. I have no idea where the circle is going to end up going.
I mean, it could go north.
Oh, come on.
Oh my God, there's no way Spyro with an ump, a 4x ump at this range.
Dream.
I don't think he even landed a shot. Okay, we're southwest.
Yep. We got a lot of drumstick in there.
Yeah, yes, and we do love chicken here in PUBG, so absolutely love to see that island in there. No damage done, so EU able to successfully land in San Martin and begin the couple minutes of looting that everybody wants to do. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, Los Leones is still being split, but we haven't seen any fighting out of it, right, Matt? Like it's just been kind of, you know, a gentleman's agreement between Overpeakers and Tropic that, look, you take one side of it, we'll take the other, and we're not going to mess with each other until, you know, we at least get out of the city.
It's a very gentleman's agreement almost makes it seem too nice. I mean, that's Overpeakers down there. You know they're going to shoot if they see.
But that's fair. Yeah, it isn't exactly that. There was no handshake beforehand that said we aren't going to do this.
It's more just like in Tropics, like, I don't want to mess with them because they're just going to push us if we fight with them.
The Overpeakers just does not care. There is just no caring at all right now for them. And
there's something to be said about that. Like, having no fear and playing at this stage means the fact that you can just be brave and do some plays that other people might be hesitant to do.
Yeah, I mean, despite some of the early problems that they've had, they're still in 5th. I mean, they're still playing really, really well, getting a big win. And again, it's like every team that wins that's in the middle of the pack today is just all of a sudden shot up the leaderboard up into 5th or 6th. And that's what's going to kind of keep happening if that trend continues.
I mean, we were starting to talk about the fact that there's a lot of separation coming out with our top 4, but like you're talking about, with these teams just being able to pick up points, now instead of having this like very, very heavy top 4, it's starting to flatten out a lot more. Sure, we still have 17 Twisted Minds up at the top, but that slope gets much, much closer now than it did at the start of the day.
It's like a heavy top 2. And then 2 under that, it slides a bit, and then OP is kind of in the middle of another pack before you go from 6th to, you know, I guess I'll go to 10th on this one. That's not a big difference there. That's 6 points from there. And even then, you know, QM at 60, a big win will shoot them up the leaderboard. You know, you can get that 20-point game, and all of a sudden, you know, depending on what CES does, you're maybe ahead of them if they kind of bottom out a bit. So a lot can change here coming into the last, you know, the last couple games of the day. It's 2 Miramars, anything's possible, and that's why we play the games. Again, I talk about it all the time, but you know, PUBG is more akin to a racing circuit. It's more like poker meets F1. You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of playing odds, you're kind of gambling a bit, but at the same time, it is a endurance test.
Whenever we were working on some of the original point systems for PUBG and trying to figure out how to make it into an esport, we actually did use NASCAR in the point system that they used.
I like
and that was the original foundation for some of the point systems that we used in those very, very early online tournaments.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I mean, this is a race. This is, you know, you're playing game to game. It's like, you know, each different map is a race, a different race. And so, you know, you're finding out who gets first over the course of the event. And that's why you got to play, you know, 15, 20 games to get a really good read on who is actually the best at the moment. And Tropic is mirroring CES right next to them. And Cerberus has had a wonderful day today, all the way up into 6th place, winning a game. And let's see how they want to approach this situation. I don't expect them to fight this at this point because, you know, with that road there, with that hill there, there's really not an easy fight to take.
This circle is actually pretty preferable for some of these teams that are at the lower end of this leaderboard. You can see that Tropic already in position right now, taking some shots. Cerberus, who had themselves this game, already started to climb up there. But whenever we're looking in, FaZe already in position. Freaks already starting to find themselves a spot. This is, with the lower lean into this, a lot of these teams that are really trying to get some value out of just a point or two did get the inside track to get the points that they find, or the places, I should say, in this situation, most valuable.
For sure. Yeah, this is a decent opportunity. And you're going to see kind of like what we saw in the Miramar the other day, where teams are going to line up in the center to the east of this circle. We have had 2 that went to this very south part of this, possible, but unlikely. And ooh, Suju has Isaki down and out. That's a point in the hands of 17. And you know, again, we talk about this a lot. They're wonderful on Erangel, and if they put up points on Miramar, then it feels like they are almost assuredly going to win this thing.
17 Gaming, can't stop, won't stop, always on the point train. There's something around, it's just going to be continuing to assert authority. Twisted Minds now needing to have a big game just to try to catch up and try to make this back into a 2-horse race. And 17 just, it's wild that even the time that they get a bad game, everybody else at the top did too.
Yeah, I mean, even though Twisted Minds gets the better of it in a way, it still allows everybody else beneath them to catch up. So, you know, as fun as that was to watch, is kind of exciting in a tournament like this, in a moment like that, to see the top 2 teams butting heads. Just kind of, it's like 2 Rams just slamming into each other, just seeing who can stay standing longer. And at the end of the day, it was Twisted Minds barely, but Wildcard has Overpeakers spotted, and you know, we've seen overpeakers they like to play from the south coast in these types of circles. We've seen that phase as well. Tends to kind of get more low than not, and a lot of teams like that. They like to come from the bottom up on Miramar. It gives a little bit of extra cover as time goes on, typically. So, you know, the old Na'Vi in particular was a team that I would love to watch play that way, and we'll see how this works out for those guys.
Makes it easier to clean out snakes too. Whenever
Precisely.
you're going through Miramar, they're just always hiding in those little dips and divots all over the place. So coming from the south, don't have anybody back behind you and just start marching your way in a line. Kind of like a Sherman's March kind of situation, just burning everything behind you as you go.
Was that Civil War? Is that a Civil War reference?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
I'll just bring it anywhere.
American Civil War reference on PUBG PGC 2022. Amazing. I was not expecting that one today. Somewhere my dad's very happy. He's a huge Civil War buff.
Look, I'm not just all anime and weeb jokes. I got some history in my back pocket.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right. I'll believe you. I was more of a World War II kind of guy, you know, just playing like Aces of the Pacific as a kid. I loved flight sims, World War II flight sims. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. As everybody's just trying to either get east or south, maybe north. You know, kind of. You know, it's kind of funny. I feel like I can watch the way that these teams take space in a Circle 1 like this, because we've seen the Circle 1 3 or 4 times in this since you and I have been here in this event. And teams are almost like gambler fallicing it. Like it's normally going to go east in some fashion, but instead now I'm seeing teams kind of be like, well, we could have that hard shift up to the north. The circles have been so crazy that maybe we expect the crazy. Maybe that's going to happen. That's totally illogical, but at the same time, if you gamble right, if you roll those dice and it comes up, you know, snake eyes, then that's awful. But if it comes up 2 6s,
you say that, Paper, but see, as somebody that I saw the MPL circle so often, I just always feel it goes down into these hills south of Chumacera.
It's not supposed to.
It may not, but it just always feels it like trends that way. For maybe it's just like,
I think you have like some kind of confirmation bias there, like just
hey,
like
whatever. Hey, it gave us our really cool Minas Generalis circle later.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, look, they're fun. I would prefer to fight on those mountains. I think they're a much more interesting area to fight than in these fields, no doubt about that. But yes, it's just there's a lot of land ratio terrain up in there, so typically circles don't like to end up in there. That being said, again, we've seen that sometimes that doesn't always matter. As Na'Vi out on the beach. Speaking of Na'Vi making south coast rotations, here they are doing just that. And there is wildcard up here. I don't know. They might be driving right into him, Matt.
Oh, Na'Vi. Are they going to read this? Adam is just getting into position in time. He's not going to be able to take any shots, and he's going to get caught out. He is going to at least try to see if maybe he can defend this. Wildcard's not really prepped. They're going to take some shots, but does manage to get down an example. And if you're going to take down somebody on Na'Vi and try to defend, that is a good first pick.
Yeah, great setup here for the side of Wildcard. Adam with an AK, though. That spray, tough to control. Couldn't find the knock. Stuns are out. They've got Na'Vi pinned here on this rock formation. And you can see they're going to commit a lot of utility into this. And it's a great angle here for Greg's shot. Just mows Uba down.
And now it's just going to be the rest of Wildcard coming in. It's just been slow, steady, making sure to be patient with it. Na'Vi, the slide feels like it's just continuing to slope downhill.
All right, here we go. Greg's shot going to be pushing some angles. They forced them back a little bit with some stuns. Get some info by crossing that door. Alia trying to use that angle. Really nicely done there. Gets the knock on the cow, but Adam has Mel. Greg's shot here is going to come in and finish the job. Na'Vi's slide continues as they are still in 4th, but it is getting ever so close as OP looms in 5th.
And shout out to confirmation bias. Went to the south.
It did.
I don't know. It's just whenever I'm around, it just does that.
It's
I'm
very
magic.
odd. It's very odd. You are magic. I mean, I'm so used to these just shifting towards Los Leones that I just kind of got sort of conditioned to it, I guess, myself. So there's a knock and a kill on to 17 from Donawa. So that's, you know, they get the point. They trade a point. Not the ideal start for 17, but going to hold the northeastern edge. Donawa with a wide 2-2 split in front of them. So let's see if anybody's going to find a way to punish Donawa. We've seen them lose players early. You know, we saw Lambu get taken out by Lil Ghost early. So I guess it's a revenge for Donawa.
Getting something out of it. TMA as well as Wildcard are both going to need to move into the circle, and the pathing for either one of them is not going to be the best. As you can see that while 17 did get a kill, now they're also going to lose one as well. This area is wrapped with people, so 17 looks like they're going to be fighting their own way through this one, and Looks like TMA is making their sin, and this is going to be a similar path that we might see Wildcard take, as they are clinging to life, and the hills are doing them some favors, as the trees are not.
Okay. Oh, they are fortunate that no one had an angle on them when they hit that tree, because they were stopped for a moment there, and we've seen that multiple times in this event, that the pros will absolutely punish you. Bard, it's a touch of damage onto TMA as they drive underneath the bridge. He's going to be able to see them start pulling up to the rock face. Should be safe for TMA to hide under there, as they're hoping for that southern shift that we've seen a couple times on these circles. Again, they are possible, more likely to go like north or northwest, but doesn't have to. You know, we've seen plenty of crazy in this event, so might as well have some fun with it.
Now, it seemed plenty crazy. Haha, I see what you did there. We were watching crazy
Thank
at
you.
the time.
I'm so glad you got that.
Okay, so wild card looks like they're going to need to figure out how they're going to handle this, and their solution is to go ahead and say, hey, TMA, go. We might want that spot for ourselves. So it looks like they're going to continue on their merry pathing right into Overpeakers, right into Cerberus, and right into, I guess, maybe the hillside. Where are you going to really stop? There's not a lot of good this way.
It's not fun, but we have seen teams be able to stay underneath this hill line and survive. However, with Cerberus a little bit deeper into this territory, it's given them some firing lines into TMA, and TMA, just by the hair on their chinny chin chins, are getting up into the sort of safety on the other side of this road. I mean, if Cerberus starts peeking up and over. Now, the good news is that TE is also sort of watching this with Ninja, but they've got a huge spread
Ходил я покушал, стартовал первый Мирамар.
Is it going to be south again? Are we going towards TE? Are we going north?
Ну и что я вижу первым... Первым то, что я вижу, что команда Нави уже умерла. Это прям расстраивает. Убила их команда Wildcard, я так понимаю, да, в ноль вообще.
Yeah, they're just kind of squeezing in between people. Reminds me a bit of how Twisted Minds rotates, where they're just able to find enough space between the other teams to safely get to where they want to go.
Не, это все, это конечное. Команда Нави, я думаю, все. Топ-1 ему вообще не видать уже 100%. 200%. А вот команда Twist, команда U. Смотрим.
Yeah, it's always the problem when they give you that +1.
I know. I can't say the other name, and I'm like,
it's like going to a wedding and they just give you the +1, right? You just can take anybody you want.
That would be, yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, that's.
Okay, where are you gonna go, E United? It has been not necessarily the most comfortable for them as well, as they're still holding on to a lead over Na'Vi, but it has just been a harder day for them to find the successes that they really desperately want. E United trying to find some way to try to at least close in on Twisted Minds, but Twisted Minds, and you gotta get to them, and 17 are just not relenting.
No, absolutely not. I love to see it. Oh, Bard, they spun him out on purpose. Adam's gonna get
Так, переходит здесь стычка. Команда Wildcard против OP.
From the back of the car is going to find the knock, and Helen is going to get involved to finish off Wildcard gets caught up in the
В итоге команда OP убивает команду Wildcard Gaming. Теряют одного, двое нокнутых.
Just keep doing it. They're not getting punished. It's continuing to climb. It's favorable for them, so you can't be shouting Game 6 scrims, whatever. They're sitting there and just constantly holding down a good position around 5th.
Game 6 scrims, yep. Anybody who's watched or played esports scrims knows how sometimes those final games of the scrim get a little wacky. Entropic now looks to make a maneuver down the road. There is the Freaks up ahead, Akkad, and I can see somebody cooking a grenade in the back. Akkad gets a decent amount of damage. If that grenade is on point,
Не пошла игра команда Нави. Абсолютно не пошла.
Now it's just a full collapse. My God, Freaks just moved out of that hallway. Entropic charged into it, and it was just an absolute death trap.
Kari just waiting around the door. QBE saw him a little bit too late there, so really nicely done. By the side of the Freaks.
Команда КДФ тем временем хоронит команду Энтропиков.
They were just 2 kilometers out. Yeah, just a little bit out there. just a bit outside. And so they're going to have to stop up and wait. TE might have an angle into them. I can see shots ringing out. Nurens has a knock on a Solelzi, so day trade here.
Команда Цербера потеряли одного игрока, один нокнутый. Тоже дела неплохо. Не очень хорошо, точнее сказать, идут.
I looked at that and I'm like,
he didn't even move. He was just.
I know he didn't even react.
You can't blame that on like accidentally stepping in front. That was just, I don't know.
Well, I was like, who has an angle?
Okay, Akari.
Wow. 777 just gets absolutely slapped.
He just blasted out of that card.
Yeah.
Now Jeem's looking down at Ninja 2K and going to be trying to skate into here as Bard is going to be able to
Игроки команды The Experience делают какую-то дичь здесь полную.
Oh, look at the way he used that smoke. Duck Juice, I think, was considering trying to drive up there, but there's some rocks in the way. Bard taking a ton of damage from Duck Juice and is going to be knocked by the molly there. And now grenades are ringing out up from way up on high as overpeakers want to see if they can stop the expendables in their tracks. Is Bard gone?
All right, Nade is going to blow up just in front of his face as now he's going to look down, and now there is just good old Duck Juice hanging over there. I do want to point out in the
Едет тут на мотоцикле, умирает.
Shooting at them, but TMA is going to be creeping up right back behind FaZe at the same time that Cerberus is on the move right next to Day Trade. So this is its own fight that's about to break out, depending on how focused in FaZe stays. 8C does seem like he realizes what's up, and now the defensive line for FaZe is moving way more down into that TMA direction.
Well, TMA had if there would have been a fight that kicked off between Day Trade and Cerberus, they could have maybe gone to their west, but instead they're going to have to fight FaZe. FaZe now capitalizing on the space that they have, trying to do some opening damage to TMA. Grenades are going to be raining in just a second, but Crazy actually finds the first one onto Diggory. Diggory in response gets Lulu all the way, so it's grenade for grenade.
А команда TMA пришла сюда, пушит команду FaZe.
Gustav is trying to creep around and find a flank into it, but it's going to be Cerberus, Tycon, who gets on and manages to get the knock onto Gustav. Suddenly, that plan that FaZe had is coming apart. But guess what? Day Trade's also going to try to get involved in what's going on with Tycon and take him down. Now they're looking in. Himas is just going to be completely surrounded by Day Trade, while we have TMA still trying to make their move in, where FaZe is going to be positioning at, and it's going to be Freaks that are taking the shots into TMA now.
Yeah, the real winners of this is 17. They get to just chill on the road and watch everybody else just kind of duke this out. Circle, maybe south, yeah, sort of. And
Погибла команда Цербера.
Just going to be chilling on the edge. Now, Day Trade is starting to drive towards kind of both teams. AT gets taken down. Lulu always had been res, and he's going to get the knock and the flush. Diggory around the corner, good for the kill onto Lulu always. So FaZe, 2 left, but they have taken a ton of damage.
I mean, TMA punishes him hard for that one, and now it's going to be Poochills coming in here, seeing if maybe he can pick up something, but whole time 17.
Команда Day хотит закрыть команду FaZe здесь.
Be it the red team, be it the pink team, it's going to be a problem. Overpeakers now moving in as well, pretty close to United sight lines, as the north is going to get more twisted, as Twisted Minds are going to have to move pretty close to Dano.
Yoho's trying to crash question mark over on the other side of this. Lost a player in their drive. Actually, they had to stop short, so that fight didn't really kick off. That grenade, pretty good, but doesn't get the knock on defects. The follow-up from Nurens, if it's cooked properly, could find one more member of FaZe. That is perfect from Nurens. So well cooked.
That air burst right in his face. There's nothing that Vex could have done about this one. Diggory, the last one up for FaZe, now has to figure out where is he going to go, how's he going to handle anything, as he is just trapped. Smoke's going to start coming out. He's going to have to lean into the Freaks side. Remember, they had sight lines into this just a second ago, so...
Так, ну команда Twist, команда EU по-прежнему в полном составе.
No doubt. He's in a ridiculously difficult spot. And so, of course, I feel for him. As Twisted Minds has spotted Helen. Now, they've been quiet throughout this one. May be able to find their first...
Убьют здесь, походу, игрока Данава команды. Из команды Данава. Остаются они втроем. Также команда QEM, команда Day в полном составе.
United now also moving into a pretty interesting hillside defense as they were trying to make sure that they move away from overpeakers. So there's going to be a defended sideline. Kickstart is going to be able to take down Salute. This is right up next to the Danoa defensive lines. This means that Twisted Minds might also be coming in right back behind this one. So Danoa has got to find themselves some type of defense. And yeah, it's
Подставляется здесь команда Данава. Умирают.
EU has got to find a good opportunity to potentially do some damage to Twisted Minds. They would love to at the very least. Let's see if they can. 17's Little Ghost is chilling in a shack. I mean, I have to assume the Freaks are very keen that is a possibility. They are very aware that somebody
Остаются всего 2 игрока команды номер 17.
The other side in his own shack has a lot of day trade around him. Day trade should be within grenade range, I believe. They might be able to get one in there. Well, yeah, yep, they got a molly in there.
This is just such a weird thing to see. 2 members of 17 just in their own independent shacks fighting 4-man squads entirely by themselves. Just 17 things, right?
Yeah, only 17. Diggory's still alive. He's still doing damage.
Trying to now see if he can pick up some more out of it. He does manage to pick up Nurens before he goes down.
Yeah, the blue came to him.
Команда EU закрывают 2 игроков команды Twist.
The high ground was taken by Twisted Minds to start doing damage. They're trying to find the flush onto Belmoth. They had found the knock.
Очень плохая позиция у команды.
This crossfire onto Day Trade. Day Trade's boot chills able to find the safety of the vehicle. Flash finds some return fire to back Hikari off momentarily, but the Freaks now, Lil Ghost hasn't moved out of this shack just yet. I think the Freaks might have forgot about this.
Oh man, oh man.
Так, игрок команды Twist нокает игрока команды United. Пытается даже подпушить.
Question mark though, as one side is going to be contending with them, as the other side has got their sights set into United.
Well, EU here needs to get this res on the flood. They really need 3 up if they're going to take any kind of successful fight. The trap has been sprung by Lil Ghost.
Ой-ой, как же он тут не нокает.
Just a bit off, and Lash able to turn and prevent any further damage. The Freaks have 10 kills in this one. They're playing a really solid game.
Не хватает урона.
Over the southeast corner of this. Only Day Trade kind of even in their territory, and there's only 2 up for them. So if they can avoid any further damage, they've got a shot at coming
Так,
through.
Твисты столкнулись там с командой QM. Нокнули одного игрока среди них.
Twisted Minds looks like they are managing to start to regroup at least 3 of them. Perfectix now trying to make a pathing over.
EU остаются втроем в итоге.
Is down and they're going to try to commit into a res for question mark. They trade though, still playing pretty close to this area where the Freaks are going to be at, and you can kind of see there's a slight ravine running through this as we do have question mark that's got some high ground to look into it, and that's really what a lot of these teams are trying to control. Most notably question mark and the Freaks right now.
Yeah, Perfectix had taken quite a bit of damage. A good grenade there, going to catch Dante, put him down to about half, a little less than that.
Хорошая граната была.
Some space to probably try to go for a heal, but he's got a doozy right up above him, and a doozy isn't really able to push over this ridge with the firing lines that Twisted Minds has created on the other side. So a doozy here just has to fall back. There is not much else he can do unless he has a ton of grenades sitting around.
Combined forces of QM and United could do a ton of work into Twisted Minds right now, but we're getting into those later stages of the game. And so now Twisted Minds is going to try to see if they can shoo away what's happening. Aduzi still wanting to move in, and he's getting closer and closer by the second to Perfectix position. While all this has been happening, though, we do see the Freaks have managed to take a much more dominant position down into the south.
Yeah, I'd really like to see the Freaks clean out Day Trade here. QM is also trying to get involved in that, so the Freaks got to be careful that they don't overextend, that they don't give kind of an open door for question mark to come up over the top and maybe do some serious damage. Maybe see if you can just kind of push Day Trade into question mark, force that space. Meanwhile, the Twisted Minds, dude, the way they play this game is so freaking good. The way that they're covering Perfectix, the way that they're keeping EU pin, they backed off.
Так, игроки команды D сталкиваются с игроком команды QM. Забирают его. И тут сейчас происходит стычка. Игроки команды КДФ четвером идут пушить, забирают игроков команды D. И происходит стычка между командами КДФ и QM. Четыре в 3. Забирают вариант отойти. Здесь еще и в спине сидит Perfectix. У команды QM. Который может в любой момент насолить им.
Yeah, this is the territory that they're trying to move into, though, is going to be where Twisted Minds as well as E United is going to have some vision, and I think it's also going to be in a lower section of the circle. So you can see the Freaks, yeah, looking in. They don't have a lot of options to move in. They've got the trees and stuff. Perfectix, though, does see himself some question mark members. Throwables now starting to come out. Is this frag going to connect? Is it going to be Perfectix just lined in? And he's going to go down.
Забирает Perfectix. Слишком агрессивно сыграл он в этот раз. Нокают Лу. Убивают здесь Лу. Весты остаются вдвоем. Очень печальная ситуация для них.
Oh man, running right over here next to Batulins. I don't even know if they know that this is about to hit them. Spyro does at least manage to take down Phil first. Batulin spins back around.
Делают ошибку команда QM. Они убивают двоих и в итоге едут, выбирают ехать пушить.
Run away from this Twisted Minds defensive line as he's just going to get taken down.
Yeah, beautiful grenades here from Batulins. Again, beautiful spacing, beautiful position holding for the Twisted Minds. Kickstart.
В итоге команда QM теряет всех своих игроков.
If they are going to find any more safety in this next circle, they are starting to push down the hill. The blue is at their back. Kickstart and
Два игрока из команды Twist. 3 игрока из команды E United.
Looks to be soon to follow.
Ой-ой-ой, у команды КДФ здесь проблемы, трое нокнуты. И вряд ли они уже здесь своих поднимут. Да, команда КДФ умирает. Остаются твисты против ЕУ. 3 в 2.
Twisted Minds and 17, a decent grenade catches Spyro, does about half damage. Batulins and Spyro now starting to let go with some utility of their own, but E United too far for the reach of the Twisted Minds players as it sits. Flood here gets the spot.
Очень важная карта для обоих команд.
The rest of the players are on the edge of the circle, Matt, so eventually they're going to have to start making a move. The circle's going to force the issue here.
Yeah, I mean, the center point on this one is nowhere near where we're at right now. E United isn't even really inside the circle yet. Rello's just kind of caught in an isolated spot. He's right next to Twisted Minds, but looks like they might be trying to bait something.
Команде Twist осталось 3 очка, чтобы догнать команду номер 17 и занять, отобрать у них первую позицию, первое место.
Rello looks like he might be trying to get some utility in, maybe support this one up. Starting to get this. Does it connect with anything? I don't know just yet. It looks like Kickstart is now making a more aggressive push on that left side, right up next to Batulins, and I don't think he's managed to find the angle to work with just yet.
Yeah, I mean, Twisted Minds has enough cover that they're able to stay safe. The utility from United has not done too much damage. It's been bullets that have been doing the hot.
Закидывают флехами, пытаются подпушить.
He's getting stunned up to high heaven. Throws a molly at the tree. Wants to prevent them from pushing forward. A decent grenade this time does catch Batulins a bit, but they're going to start.
Крутят лево, хотят выйти в одного. Не находят они его здесь. Находят, нокают. Ой-ой, зона.
Batulins has got to be careful with it. They're going to go with a hit and run. They just run down there, hit kickstart because they know that that's going to be an influential.
Смогут ли они поднять своего или нет? Если нет, то это будет битва 2 в 2. Скорее всего, не будут они рисковать поднимать, он просто умрет. Да, остаются 2 в 2. Ой-ой, очень опасно.
Just enough. Rello looks like he's going to be trying to creep in back behind Spyro. The longer that this is going to be going on, it means the fact that it's going to be the Twisted Minds.
Топим за свистов. То есть Рело может выйти и сделать грязь. Но если его нокнут, это будет жестко. Да, видит он здесь игрока Твист.
does get the damage, but that was a big reveal in position.
Надо хилиться ему очень быстро.
It could be disastrous.
Хилиться.
Now having more and more pressure mounting on his position with Rello now being exposed. With the smokes now out, you can see the twisted.
Команда Твист заканчиваются смока последние. Их слева кроют. Команда Юнайтед занимают первую позицию на 4-й карте.
Going to pop them right back up in the leaderboard.
And especially against Twisted Minds. That's going to be some type of moral victory to let them start moving forward. But we still have one more. And this has just been a wild day for teams to find some points that are so needed. And I don't even know what I'm going to be expecting moving into this last round.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a great day for PUBG Esports as a lot of teams are stepping up today that we haven't seen so far. We've seen a lot of new winners in the grand finals. You know, it isn't just the 17 Gaming and Twisted Mind show today. A lot of other teams.
Упорная борьба, последняя карта.
So, I mean, this is what we hope for. This is what you want to see going into the final day.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and toss it over the desk so that way Martin can try to claim EU United to his heart's content.
Winner, chicken dinner.
And congratulations to EU United, the young guns of North America, coming out, throwing down, and taking a big win off the favorites. Poro, an epic win for them.
I mean, it was absolutely necessary too, wasn't it? I mean, it looked like they were holding on, but they're just not climbing, not.
Так и будет перерыв сейчас, я так понимаю. Команды ушли на перекур, так сказать, на перерыв. Перед последней картой показывают нам повтор, как тут Вичи Гаминг убивает команду Нави.
But Rello's angle and the way that he knew, all right, they're spinning a lot of smokes here. Maybe I'm gonna have an opening behind this tree here, and it worked really well for them.
Yeah, I mean, Flood taking the low side with Rello on the high side. I mean, it is just beautiful stuff. But over peakers, man, what are they? They're just farming North American teams. I swear.
The only thing over peakers hate more than themselves is North American teams. They go out and they just completely eradicate yet another one in yet another game.
But they're also collecting more and more points, and they're actually slowly kind of starting to climb up the leaderboard a little bit more too. So, I mean, they're still finding. They're another one of those teams that's finding themselves one big game away from being right in the mix with everybody else going into this final day, Martin.
Yeah, 7 kills, only 10th place though. I love the way they were able to close it out though. I mean, if you're able to salvage a game without getting any placement points with 7, that's fine to me, but it was messy. And in general, in this area here, I love the terrain and how everything works in this area, but it's hard to get there when you first get started in a rotation, when you get stuck in the middle of it.
In a lot of ways, the way you say it was messy is true. This game was messy through the entirety of it until we got to the end, and then it became sort of a master's class in strategy and positioning, and it did start out as a 3v2, Poro. We saw Kit go down, and I was blown away by how TM reacted to that knock and just almost outsmarted him.
I mean, Twisted Minds is such a good team, man. Like, it is a pleasure to watch that team operate and just see how they play the meta game and how good their communication is, how they have the trust that they have in each other to be able to cover each other's backs. I mean, that fight against QM, that could have easily gone another way, but Twisted Minds been able to pull it out. Still 7 kills, 1,800 damage, and, you know, finally, United again.
Команда КДФ молодцы тоже.
A case where you outsmart people in high and intense situations, right? But Tulin's waiting by a car for question mark to drive past that, getting like an easy knock once. Spyro also obviously got one, but it's just easy to outsmart like that if you're able to outthink your opponent in situations where, all right, everybody's just kind of scrambling to get into better positions, but they're just outplaying and outsmarting a lot of the teams that they're winning against. And of course, still combined with them being amazing mechanically.
Now, I have to avoid the bias and call a spade a spade. United did yoink 2 circles there at the end, both to the north, to put them in a winning position, but were able to capitalize off of that. A team that I thought did the most with what they had in front of them is your KDF and QM. Both of those teams had to scrap to put every point on the board for them.
Yeah, and I mean, KDF kind of needs it too, don't they? I mean, I think they were in dead last going into this game, but you know, it's weird. Every now and then we're seeing games where these teams, no matter where they lie on the leaderboard, whether it's at the top or the bottom, they still show how they got here. Like, they are definitely worthy of being in this grand finals lobby.
Here's the end of the match as we watch again. Batulin doing a great job of pushing up, gets the flush, and then they immediately relocate, but ultimately it came down to just running out of smokes, Avenger. They had no defense and just a tree.
Once we get to the top 4, utility is king. It is literally what wins you game. If they had 10 more smokes there, it could have been completely different. Relo had an angle, but if they were able to smoke like and have a flank around it and maybe take a 2v1 versus flood, it would have been completely different. Yeah. Then again, they ran out of it. They tried to outsmart it, they got kicked down, but they didn't have kind of the best of the strategy.
Блять, расстроили, конечно.
Really fantastic spray down there with the 2x and 4, I believe it was. Be able to close this one out.
Yeah, I mean,
top fraggers, Nigel too.
There you go. There you go. I mean, we've been singing Relo's praises all year, but yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, they were down to what, maybe 2 or 3 smokes left.
Right.
If they have more, then they can use them offensively, right? Throw them on top of E United, force them to kind of play through those smokes. But unfortunately, E United in a perfect position to kind of take advantage of the fact that TM had to push out of that. And there you go. The new leaderboard is up.
133, 31, все 14. Нави на 5-м месте.
Twisted Minds and E United capitalize on the door being left, and they try to kick it in. Twisted Minds does close
Нави
the gap,
покинули
but
топ-4.
they would have taken the lead, but E United put a
Команда
stop to it, and in doing so,
OP
gets closer.
обогнала их
And dare
уже
I
на 2
ask,
очка.
Martin, is this now a 3-horse race?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I would love to do it. I would love to see maybe one more battle. Maybe they can, you know, hop drop each other in Picado in this chance here, and they're gonna kill each other and then not have that many placement points. Because I would love to see United. They had a rough day on Erangel. Gotta say, I think it was 6 points, 7 points total. They managed to get in 3 games. It's just not enough if you want to make it a 3-horse race. They have to have a big game here in the last game of the day.
Well, the last game of the day is not far away. We'll see if they do have that big one. Who takes home the last win of the day? You'll find out in just a few minutes.
Ну, не знаю, команде United догнать 1-2 место будет очень сложно. Учитывая, что осталась всего 1 игра. Мне кажется, это нереально сделать, и они так и останутся на 3-м месте. Вот сейчас команда будет между 1-м и 2-м местом, и 4-м и 5-м местом. Все. Я думаю, остальное уже ничего не поменяется особо. Так, рекламируют нам какую-то игру. Defense Derby. Ну, сейчас будет прям финал. Потому что 1-е, 2-е место, 4-е, 5-е. Это будет нереально сейчас. У 6-й команды, я думаю, практически нет шансов догнать 5-е, 4-е место. Так же, как и у 3-го места нет шансов догнать 2-е, 1-е. А вот между 4 командами сейчас будет заруба. Лютейшая. Раз. Так, микро работает. О, в Викенде карту вернут. 6 декабря. Ну, сейчас, я не знаю, сейчас что будет. Сейчас надо настолько аккуратно играть, и при этом командам, которые нужно сейчас вырывать, просто, я не знаю, драться за свою позицию, просто надо играть нереально.
Chills every time.
Не зря это финал. Просто нереальное место какое-то, да? В Дубае. И посмотри PSG 2022 на официальном Pubg Twitch канале и получай бесплатное EAP и подарки. You can up. Попробуй выиграть 45 тысяч по EAP. Просто смотри все матчи. Все, в принципе, все команды, на которые я поставил, они топ. В топе. Практически все. Единственное, на DF я, по-моему, ставил еще. А не топ-13. Ну, буквально пару команд не угадал. Ну и то посмотрим. Стартует последняя игра. Последняя игра. Чемпионат по PUBG 2022. Пятая карта. Мирамар.
distance of some of the top teams, but it continues to be a two-horse race
Погнали.
with 17 and Twisted Minds. But it feels like it's trading between the two maps. On Miramar, it's Twisted Minds. On Erangel, 17. So again, if 17 can have a big game here on Miramar, that could be the difference maker.
I don't know if you can count out E United just yet. 15 points behind is a doable hurdle to like try to climb over and usurp positioning when we still have 6 games left.
Yeah, Kickstart's now your top damage dealer for the tournament. He's the first one to get ahead of 5,000 damage, and he's quite a bit ahead of anybody who's close to him. Perfectix is second in total damage right now at 4,680. So really, Kick is having a good one. I mean, a bit of a fumble there at the end of that game that cost him his life, but
Погнали, пусть победит сильнейший.
You know, you can sort of forget about that one, just shake it off. Just, you know, next game, GG go next.
I mean, he did move into an aggressive
GG go
position.
next.
I think that they realized that there was risk in it, so I'll give him that one on side of it, even though the fact that he's on my fantasy team. So not gonna get
He's on a lot of the other
kills for me, are you, Kickstarter?
Yeah, he's on a lot of the other casters' fantasy teams. So you know what?
Just the American ones.
Yeah, well, yes. So there's no love lost for me there. I mean, I'm riding on Show and Soul, and Soul is doing the heavy lifting for me. So
as he is right now, is doing a pretty damn good job of it, 27 points. And we are going back into the north as we have gone up here quite a bit in Miramar, as at least now going much more north of Azahar as we were seeing the trend be yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, these generally end up either kind of in and around Cruz de Valle or somewhere to the north of Hacienda. That's generally where these like to go. They can hard shift west, it can hard shift north. There's a ton of directions it can go. So we won't know more.
Oasis is in the circle.
Don't get your hopes up.
Oasis is in
You're over here dancing like.
Hey, look.
I mean, you've been able to summon some bad circles, so you know what? We both have today. I summoned the bad Erangel circle that went
Так,
to
что тут
the,
происходит?
South George. They drove through the tree.
Just wild.
He went right through the branches. That's amazing.
А, это нам показывают повтор. Тут уже граната лежит.
I mean, you got there, but then, you know, the pre-nades were already there. That's standing
Да.
right on top of it, and that's a landmine.
It's one of those things. You got to assume that they're there, but you always want to assume that they're not.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they're hard to hear and see when you're driving in like that. So it's so funny that he just walked
Просто
right
разложили их тут вообще по красоте.
It's like, all right, dude.
Whoever designed those longhouses at PUBG, you're evil. They are so hard to try to take.
They are one of the most difficult houses to deal with in PUBG Esports. They are really tricky.
You know that there's some developer that's listening right now just like, yes.
Oh, yeah. They should be proud. I mean,
that's-
if that was your goal, mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
More often than not, whenever I'm driving by and I just see somebody that's inside of them, like, longhouse, not even worth it.
Oh, God, I skip them. I'm like, if we could take them, I'm like, let's get him, let's get him. If I see anybody in them, I'm like, nah, let's just go somewhere else.
Just shoot me out of the car as I'm driving by it. I don't even want to just deal with trying to go down that hallway. As E United now finding some legs to themselves, and looks like they're still wanting to try to compete up next at the top of it. Overpeaker's now going to be coming in right back behind them as Navi has slipped down into 5th place.
Yeah, again, it's been rough going for Navi. They found a few extra points here and there, but the other teams around them have really started to pick up the pace, and Overpeaker's in 4th. I mean, again, you know, that veteran team, a team with, you know, more experience than just about anybody else, if not any other team in this lobby. So you can see it pulling through for them as they just, you know, they're playing loose, they're playing fun, and they're able to make some really good moves out of it. And when you're playing loose like that, you make good decisions because you're not in your own head. You're just sort of letting the game come to you. You're just reacting, you know, naturally.
I will say that I like all of the decision making. I don't know if I can always put it in good, because like that trap that they did with the cars a second ago, just trying to run somebody down, it works for them. But
I'll say I like it.
I love every second of it.
Absolutely.
Just keep on going. Just keep on doing it. Whatever's working over Peakers. I don't know what type of juju
Ничего,
you're
пока
using
тишина.
works so well, but
Ждем.
It's a good combination of a lot of good players. I mean, on paper, it should have been a team that, you know, that we probably were talking about as maybe winning this event coming into this, but because of some of the, you know, the turmoil behind the scenes, and we started to kind of scratch our heads a bit and go, well, maybe. And then they got here in the Grand Survival even, but they're our best Grand Survival team so far. They're doing a really phenomenal job. That's no problem. Landed it. Easy money. QM coming in from the west side. There's the wild card and a wide split, kind of what we saw, a similar split to what we saw in their big win, in their history-making 22-kill win earlier in the event. So let's see if QM's going to mess with that too much. total damage.
I'm kind of actually surprised by that with overpeakers, given how like often we see them fighting in the earlier stages. But I think that might also be a symptom of losing a player, as we were seeing in like the first 2 days. They kept having a player that they would lose around circle 2 to 3.
2 to 3, yeah.
And so that's going to be a significant hit on your damage numbers, but they still just managed to figure out ways to pick up points. And it looks like 17.
Как же им аккуратно надо сыграть сейчас. Команде номер 17. Всего 2 килла разница, 2. Также и твистам. Им мало того, что надо сыграть аккуратно, им еще нужно накидать больше киллов.
They're going to be taking some damage. They're getting a little help though from I think FaZe out in the open. Now the Freaks again might have to defend a compound.
Now going to be sending it in, and hey, guess what?
Так, команда Твист приезжает к команде ОП. Ой-ой-ой. Очень опасно может быть. Я понимаю, что надо уезжать отсюда. Да. Правильно делают.
There's no way. There's no way Navi has to go on that. But regardless, I want to say that Twisted Minds, like, the way that they play this game is so good because they never over-aggress. You can see they get the information. They don't just start hucking grenades and trying to go for a fight. You know, they're going to just kind of see how the other teams react. They have escape plans. They have exit valves. Everything is in place. They've got cover fire for these moves. It's just beautiful to watch them play.
All right, now the dance around for compounds is continuing as most teams are leaning into a, I guess, center to the south kind of situation, praying the fact that it's going to lean more that Hacienda side, water treatment, that direction. Maybe down over around the center area. We might also see like Death Valley, Death Star Trench become a factor for this one. And now overpeakers do manage to get in point. We also have Day Trade that's going to be running up here next to TM.
Так, команда CS в итоге атакует здесь команду U.
A little bit of congestion for the church up on the Cruz de Valle Hill. And Cerberus is sending in a pretty strong force, and it looks like United realizes that they don't have the forces available to contest
Команда
the top part of the hill,
United
so
просто
back
дает
into
позицию.
the Abbey part of the church
Переезжает
they
другую.
go. I think this is probably okay for United, but they got to be a little bit careful. I mean, Salalzi is really getting aggressive.
I mean, Cerberus also getting up on top of a very high point in a circle. Feels like that worked pretty well for them.
It's gone well for them, yeah. As it turns out, Yahoo kind of just got swatted away from other locations, had to drive here, and almost gets a knock on a United for it. Relo scrambling to drive up into the Abbey. And
Игрок команды EU еле уходит отсюда.
Well, and so that means that Yahoo's going to find themselves a place to stop as well, and that's going to be more of a calm situated. Is we still have Overpeakers and Twisted Minds taking some shots at each other, but that's going to be about it. It looks like we're going to see a bar get taken over here for Yahoo. And yeah, TMA is going to be the only team that likes me and goes Oasis.
Well, let's see if they can hang out there until its last call. Maybe they'll find a couple circles going their way. Danawa pre-rotation here as they were just getting some info out towards the power grid area. There isn't much going on until you get to Lou from Twisted Minds up on the Double Gods that are up on the hill to the south, or excuse me, to the northwest of San Martin. So looks like they're just going to try to drive right through the city. There hasn't been much fighting in San Martin proper, so they have to assume that it's probably decently empty.
I mean, there's a lot of times in the circle that nobody is actually shooting. This is a pretty quiet circle, especially for a Miramar circle. You've got a couple of teams. It's most notably just
Команде Нави надо брать топ-4, как минимум. Я буду рад, если твисты возьмут топ-1, а Нави возьмут топ-3 в итоге. Выиграют эту карту. Твисты просто обгонят 17-х, а команда Нави победит в этом матче и займет топ-3. Я надеюсь. Тогда будет вообще прям пушка. Но не факт, что такое случится.
good job on taking some shots just to shoo away Batulins as the circle is going to go down into the south, and you can hear fans pretty happy about that one as 17 do have themselves a good spot. Na'Vi as well. Looks like we're also going to see the Expendables very quickly try to regroup. Teams up to the north who are also in love with the idea of Oasis are going to have a much harder rotation.
Well, Donna was kind of angling for this to go more to the northeast, and now they're stuck still in cars trying to figure out
10 минут прошло, живы все игроки всех команд абсолютно.
The Freaks having to make their move a little bit more center. They already split up. They're going to try to maintain, it looks like, another 2-2 split early here, and this might be problematic. I can see TMA angling pretty much directly at the northernmost compound of that 2-2 split.
This is, you're just at that stage, you got to send it down. We got these fields that we saw several endings at around here beforehand. Now it's going to be about how the pathing is going to come out for TMA. They're going to approach in off of this, and instead it looks like they've got their eyes set and coming in after United.
Yeah, this is nice here for the Freaks because they're able to.
Команда ТМА сейчас может столкнуться с командой ЕУ. И что сейчас будет? Высаживают одного. И забирают его сразу. Команда TA на перетяжке теряет одного игрока. Двое еле выживают, им нужно отхилиться сейчас. Он еще и переворачивается. Его могут забрать. Да, теряют второго игрока. Они его не смогут поднять здесь. Что они делают? Они просто катаются. Не могут найти позицию. Потеряли двух игроков. Ой-ой-ой.
It's been a crazy drive, not the most pleasant of trips, but they got here.
I mean, they're at least kind of centered too, and they've got Na'Vi that can kind of protect them in one angle, and they're nice friends, and the Freaks that took out one of their friends, they can actually kind of protect them too. See? It's all according to plan.
Yeah.
You surrender a player to have a team protect
all according to Keikaku.
Yeah.
You get
All right, so not too many other rotations coming out just quite yet. We do have Wildcard that's moving in pretty close to phase. Wildcard did also just pick up a crate, I believe, so have to see who's got some toys to play with.
I see the level 3 gear on Greg's shot this time again, and I haven't seen a level 3 gun floating around, so it might have been something that nobody wanted to rock and roll with, which if it's the AWM and you passed on it, then you deserve to lose a game. That's all there is to it.
Oh, wow, just going to call
Так,
it.
2 в 2.
Calling it out, yeah. I totally am serious about it, too.
Подтягивается сюда команда ОП первыми. И могут сейчас забрать двоих ДФ. Пошла граната.
Grenades are in, trying to put them down the hall. See if you can land them right between those doors that are down there, you might be able to get some damage into the players that are kind of trying to hide in those two separate rooms, but it doesn't look like that is going to be the case. Bard trying to watch an angle around the outside. James also, but I can't see much through that smoke flash. Took a big chunk of damage, but able to get around. Still Belmoth not directly.
Не залетает граната в окно.
Trying to play Overwatch, but he's really far out there.
Yeah, he was
Ой-ой.
It's going to be Batulins that provides some support as he is separated away from the rest of Twisted Minds, kind of monitoring what's going to be going on. Firefight's going to be going.
Начинает стычка лобовая.
More and more problems for Day Trade as they lose another.
17 was on a pre-rotation, and then this circle popped, and they just turned right around and went back in.
Like,
Never mind now. All right. So let's see. Mexi still 4 up for the overpeakers. Flash. I don't know if Belmoth is here just yet. It looks like he might have gotten in, but he's got a pump shotgun, and that can do things, no doubt about it. And I can see Twisted Minds is starting to drive on by there, let the fight allow them to leapfrog past. That's just more of this unbelievably smart play calling that you see from them. They take advantage of the chaos, but they don't go for the points in the fight. They go for the position.
Wildcard was trying to move into the circle just north of water treatment and then did bump into phase.
Команда ОП делает тем временем 2 фрага. Нави отстают на 4 очка.
This is an odd place to be prone. This is a there are so many angles that people could theoretically come at you from this spot, but I suppose with Belmoth watching, you can kind of guess where it's going to come from. Tycon there took a chunk of damage, but tree should be enough to keep him safe.
Tycon тут оказывается в плохой позиции.
That position is treacherous as time goes on. There's a car there with him as well, of course, but
отрезан от команды.
Likely become quickly rather difficult to use as far as driving goes. Teams will likely take the tires out and do some damage to it, and yada, yada, yada.
Tire pop numbers, let's go. Let's build it up. Flash now also getting up on his feet as he can hear the feet of other teams now around him. And see, trying to source the sounds. Belmoth is protecting on one angle. Issue is, what is going to be the approach that overpeakers are going to go for while this is happening?
Так, выход.
Trying to go for the spot that rewarded them so well and managed to get them to this stage, but it's going to be Yoho that is already holding it down. Nades on one side, and also remember there are two members for Entropic on the other. Looks like also E United might be passing into this as Punich does go down, and Lucarux is going to find some vision into it. E United could be passing by this one and put some bullets into the backside of Entropic.
Команда EQ нокает двух. Команда OP тем временем забирают команду Day. Да? Один игрок Day остается. Команда Electronic убивает команду Yahoo. Команда Yahoo на 7-й позиции, но после этого матча они могут оказаться вообще ниже топ-10.
Very separated away from the rest of his team. He's like, nah, compounds are too constricting. Instead, I'm going to go on an adventure across these fields and try to find myself some Cerberus players.
Yeah, I like this, getting a little bit of information, gaining a little bit of space towards the Hacienda area. Maybe they can gatekeep Cerberus from the next circle if it goes north. This is difficult for United. They're going to kind of have to backfill off of Navi's pre-rotation here.
17-й сделали один килл.
We've seen this circle a couple times. It isn't quite as heavy in the favor of the God compound.
3 очка разницы между первым и вторым местом.
Basically the borderline unbeatable compound, but everybody else now scrambling.
Нави едут занимать позиции. Ой-ой-ой, происходит вкат. Нави вкатывают на команду The Experience. Добивают одного, нокают второго.
And it looks like it's just going to be a matter of time before this flips in Navi's favor.
Yeah, they're just dissecting them like a high school.
2 килла от команды Нави. Остается 2 игрока у команды The Experience. Команда Электроники вкатывает команду КДФ.
Are trying to allow E United to move forward. They do lose one finally after driving through the thick of a ton of teams, but they're actually going to crash into the backside of the fight that we were watching just a second ago with TE and Navi.
Команда EU приезжает к команде Нави. У команды Нави нокают одного игрока.
The freaks are late and they're going to pay the price. This is just with the way that the circle has shifted with how little playable space there is in terms of compounds and other safe spots because there's so many angles and so much flat ground that people can get shot at from the compounds that are in the circle.
3 очка разницы между Нави, между 5-й и 4-й позицией команд. Цербер нокает команду одного из игроков команды 17. Оставался он здесь один почему-то. И надо им добивать, иначе команда 17 сейчас соберется и приедет сюда.
Wildcard looks like they got eliminated, and FaZe now has to contest with TMA. Just 2 left though for TMA. Seems like that's.
Команда Twist тем временем делает килл.
Looking in on them.
Yeah, the Zano fight did end this time in the favor of FaZe. It's going to be 17 now.
Команда 17 едет сюда. Солон вдвоем едут на команду Нави. И оба умирают. 2 килла для команды Нави. Нокают игрока команды Нави. Один игрок остался у команды The Experience, второй нокнут. И вряд ли он его сможет поднять. Что-то нереальное сейчас начинает происходить. Нави просто надо жить. Просто надо жить. Все, кто можно, приехали к команде Нави. Нави поднимают своего 5 киллов. 1 очко разделяет их от 4-го места. Нокают у них опять одного. Нави, Мэла можно уже потерять, не поднять. Пытаются поднять, нет, добивают. Тайкан добивает Мэла. У Нави остается 3 игрока. Команда Ты и Мэй убивает команду Фейза.
Take FaZe away because they're gonna feel bad after that one. It's gonna be Navi still trying to see if they can fish out duck juice, but he's doing a good job on staying alive. Danaway here's what all the craziness that's just going on over here, and now moving in, it's gonna be Soul that's gonna be also in a gatekeeping position. So, all right, tides and times are going to change depending on how this all goes.
Yeah, for Danawa, there's nobody up on the northern edge of that long ridge line that runs across the road to the west of water treatment. So they've got a lot of open space to work with.
Ой-ой-ой. Умерла команда номер 17. Твисты в полном составе. Команда Нави делает 2 килла. Команда Нави занимает топ-4. Блять, нокаются у них Example. Да, у Нави умирает второй игрок. Остается их 2. Команда УП по-прежнему в полном составе. Команда Твист занимает 1 место. Это финал, детка. United has lost 2 players, but still able to control the warehouse, it looks like. Although, I'm not sure if somebody's gotten in there or not. But Cerberus, a grenade from Soul does a lot of damage. If he can find the follow-up, he's still sitting on a couple more.
This East Coast is just absolutely getting brutalized over here. As looks like Hisaki's going to try to reset.
Уничтожают просто здесь команду CS.
They've got themselves 7 kills and have managed to step up and pass over Peakers, but it's just barely. Now it's going to be tied up with everything's going to go.
Нави надо забирать несколько киллов еще по-любому. 8 киллов уже делает команда Нави в этом матче. Очень хотят они занять топ-4. Нокают игрока команды Нави. Убуш непонятно, сможет ли он поднять. Нет, не может, он остается один. Контрятова здесь не дадут ему зайти в зону. И похоже, это конечное для команды Нави. Twisted Minds убивают еще 2. 136 уже поинтс. Команда УП, кстати, начинают убивать. Поднимают они своего. Все, Нави умерли. Нави пока топ-4, но у команды УП еще по-прежнему 3 игрока. Команда Твист топ-1 100% уже. Но для них еще не все кончено, они еще могут все это делать. Да, у них плохая позиция, но они еще могут что-то сделать.
Here. QM is starting to reach out a little bit, get a little bit curious towards the southern side of this circle. They want to try to sneak some points in. I mean, that compound, of course, will give you potentially a guaranteed 10-point win, but you'd like to rake in some extra kills along the way. Helen now out of France.
1 килл нужен команде УП, чтобы обогнать команду Нави.
He's looking for him. I don't know if there's any more left of those boxes.
You gotta give it Twisted Minds. They did a good job on trying to stay alive, and a lot of nades being dropped on top of him. Mexi's finding himself target of a lot of attention. It looks like.
Но они в плохой позиции. Не факт, что они смогут сделать еще один фраг.
James, though, finds himself the target of a lot of attention as Danawa is going to be shooting right over him, tossing some nades, knowing exactly where he is. That Molotov
Поджигают.
connect, and that's going to be a cooked James.
Но он, скорее всего, отхилится. Нет, умирает.
James, a really nice throw there from Soul. Now attention back over to Twisted Minds as they want to barricade them in. You could throw down.
Делают все-таки килл перед смертью и обгоняют на 1 килл команду Нави. Нави топ-5. Твистеды втроем по-прежнему живы еще.
Danawa separated into a 2-2 as now Twisted Minds is starting to creep up this hillside. Numbers advantage in Crest might be a problem. It looks like Danawa is reading that and they are trying to regroup. That means the fact that they're having to surrender some information and control over next to where question mark is. As you can see, now trying to creep back down into Soul, trying to get next to Helen to make sure that any push that comes up from Twisted Minds is going to be at least defendable.
Уходит зона от команды Twisted Minds. Команда Данава стягивается, чтобы запушить команду Twist, я так понимаю.
Displace a team from QM's compound. It is just one of the best in the game, and there's a reason people call it the God compound, because once you take control and the circle's on you into phase 8, well, that's a good game.
How much smoke do you have, and how much can you try to make this work? Because you can see the hillside is going to provide something, but like you're saying, it's just so hard to push.
More often than not, yeah.
That's going to be about the only opportunity that's going to be presented as Phil first already has control of the south, so Twisted Minds.
Нави, вот сколько они? 3 матча, 3-4 матча абсолютно в ноль. 1 матч 0, 1 матч 1 килл, 1 матч 1 килл, и 1 матч что-то около 6 киллов, по-моему, если память не изменяет. Просто они, сами. Они могли в топ-3 зайти, блядь, просто. На изи, блядь. Топ-3 могли на изи зайти.
Still a few vehicles floating around here and there for them, but they are extremely beat up, and they're trying to leapfrog their way towards Danawa. Smokes
Не то, что сами, может быть, где-то не повезло. С зоной, там, еще что-то. Тем не менее, я думаю, что можно было лучше сделать.
Well, Batulins is going to hop in a vehicle and just say, nah, screw that. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this rock. You guys can continue to press in that direction for it. Phil first not going to have the cleanest angle into this, but while you do manage to get here where James just died at, you have to remember who did just kill James. So that is going to be its own independent problem for Twisted Minds to contend with, but it's going to be, fortunately enough, QM taking some shots into him. This is just continually right next to each other, just awkward, and nobody can find anything.
Soul has 6 mollies, though. I mean, he should just start lighting up.
Пока все походит на то, что команда QM займет топ-1 на этой карте.
Danawa comes to life. They want to take advantage of this. Salute has the knock onto Lou. Batulins on a sliver of health, going for the full med kit to get back up to 100. There come the mollies from Soul. He comes up just short of Batulins on the first one.
Oh, that's just the first one. Here come the rest of them, and yeah, that's going to be Batulins on fire. There is not too much that you can do with this one. Looks like he's going to just try to med it out. I think he might be able to do it. Did he even catch on fire, or was that bullets that actually...
He got caught on fire, yeah.
Okay.
But he had just gotten his med kit off, so he was...
Yeah, okay. Looking in, that just means the fact that Danawa is having to spend so much time and energy dealing with Twisted Minds, it's just handing more and more over to question mark.
Yep, exactly. I mean, this is, again, very likely in favor of question mark. I mean, Danawa would, needs to sit on as many smokes as they can. Yeah, Lou's going to be rest.
Смотри, поднимает свой вощу.
Factor in this, as question mark has sent 2 out. You know, it's funny is if Danawa could see the map right now, this would be their opportunity to try to steal this compound from underneath question mark. They are going to get a Groza. There is the level 3 gear. That's going to help things. Look, if Danawa is sitting on like 20 smokes, there's a world where they do this. But I only see one in the hand of Lambu. I'm not sure what the smoke situation is like for the rest of them.
They might can sprint this though.
Maybe. I mean, this is the moment.
It's taking too long. Aduzi's already come out to reinforce at this angle. It's one of those things that if you got to make a bad call, sometimes you just got to make the bad call, and everybody needs to commit. And it looks like they're finally going to do that. But it is just a moment too late. Spray's going to come out.
Команда Данава решает пушить команду QM и умирает всей командой. Да, они умерли всей командой.
guess what?
I don't know where the smokes were. There weren't any.
Batulins and Lou had the same idea. Phil first is going to take some shots in, and he's going to drop one. And then there was just poor on Batulins all by his lonesome, and, well, at least he has some hay bales for friends.
There's a couple knocked for QM, though. Phil first went down. You've got another one. It's only a 1v2. If they let Batulins get the reds off, we got the sawed off.
Ой-ё. Из дробаша в голову.
I feel you right now, question mark. You gonna finish it?
Команда QM
Go for the style points, baby. You'll love to see it. Let's go.
забирает пятую карту.
Very, very thrilled, and they are playing great from that position, raking in some kills.
What's the thing with the hair and question mark? I don't know. Is that a thing?
Well, it's their colors, I guess, right? They're blue and white, so I guess the white hair.
I don't know. We're gonna have to get Martin to give us some type of information on that one. Avender, give us some type of breakdown as we're gonna be moving in. But there we go. We are now 3/4 of the way through the grand finals, and it was feeling like it was 17 for the longest time. But now, after today, it looks like Twisted Minds stepped up, got into position, but that game was not massive. It's still anybody's game moving into this end section.
Well, Twisted Minds is just the masters of Miramar. I mean, that is what they are. They are so brilliant on this map. They are so fun to watch play. They shouldn't be getting second place in that game, but they do.
And you have to remember, Erangel has been 17's map, but what is tomorrow? 3 Miramars, and God, there is so much building into it, a full year, and I know everybody on the desk, where are we going to be looking at tomorrow, what's going to be going on, and how's everybody's fantasy doing?
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Question mark finds the answers as they come out with the chicken dinner wrap-up day number 3. And with only 5 games left to play tomorrow, it is going to be a lot of questions about who can catch up. My name's Toppy, I'm joined by Poro and Avenger on the desk for the last time today to break down the action. Let's jump right into the highlights. Porcel.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, a lot of early game fighting here, and Tropic actually showing up a little bit, showing a little signs.
Ну что, твисты победители? Что? Я так не понял.
It felt like a matter of time, right? Like they had a good spot. They kind of sat there and got a little circle love to go their way, but that's still a tough game to clutch out for them.
It's almost like we've seen the circle a few times before, and the teams
like
kind of play around that. That's, you know, a little bit unexpected. No, the teams know that we've had some tendencies that we've seen some innings close to these compounds here, so right, they will play around that. Question mark, they hungered down in this compound here. Then they went out on a little bit of a split, called a doozy back once they saw Danova push in, and they actually completely demolished them in this case here when they try to push. These rooftop positions here is just too strong to defend against once they get over that ridge.
And only taking one knock on that push too was actually huge. And then Phil first, I mean, we saw him with that side flank angle for the longest time, wondering when it was going to pay off. Gets the knock on the guy coming in, and then at the end, a nice exclamation point for question mark with the jump shotty shot.
I like that as he did it with the double barrel. Took him down. I love Phil first in that position to make sure. I mean, you saw the attempted crash coming from Twisted Minds. They thought it's the one opportunity we have, and they had that flanker out there ready to play it. Very, very clean from question mark. But right now, the story for the day for me is when we got here, when we started, 17 looked like an uncatchable powerhouse. And when we look at those leaderboards, it is no longer reflected that way.
No, their ranked games is not as strong as we have seen them so far. Question mark though, 21 points, 2,000 damage. Danoma and Soul continue. He's our top fragger by far right now, and he has been putting up points for Danoma. And we've been talking about a little bit, are they going to be able to do their usual thing at globals and get in, you know, top 5, top 6? And it's looking like they're continuing to do so.
I mean, they've had a hell of a run today, and Overpeakers as well. I mean, they have just jumped up the leaderboard, leapt up the leaderboard. Twisted Minds obviously taking over that first place spot today. You talked about 17 having a little bit of a slow start on Erangel. And, you know, I'm kind of thinking back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, how clutch Twisted Minds is in final days of tournaments all this year. Yeah. They are just insane. Like, they get so many points on these final days. Now, can they reproduce that here in this last game with all the pressure on the line of a championship? That's to be seen.
It's Miramar Day tomorrow. It's 3 games of Miramar, and historically they are just that good of Miramar. 2 second places today, some wins once we saw them the other one, right? I think it's just their map, and now that we're closing 60% of the games tomorrow, it's looking like they're going to be able to potentially keep that. Obviously, we're going to have to see tomorrow, but they're just so strong right now, and their consistency, when they're not getting the kills, they're getting the placements.
That's what it is. I think when you watch Twisted Minds, their ability to make feasts out of table scraps is shocking. You know, Na'Vi, if they get a good fight, they do really well. You see 17 doing some good positioning, but Twisted Minds consistently just shows up in the top, Poro. And I think it's the shot calling by Batulin. by and far has blown me away the most.
Yeah, the shot calling has been off point, and I mean it's worth noting that, you know, obviously, like we've talked about him as a great shot caller for all this time, but once you get to this grand stage of PGC, it's a lot different, right? And there you go, leaderboards. 140 points, so close there. And
140 total. Команда Twisted Minds.
So Twisted Minds overtakes first place, leaving 17 in second for a big duel tomorrow.
Нави, один килл не хватило.
As well as Overpeakers and Na'Vi to keep that fight going for sort of third and maybe first with a big push. But the best of the rest is really shaping up, and I think separating them from
3 игры с нулем.
Overpeakers today, 48 points.
Nice.
Question mark today, 53 points.
Yep.
Insane days for them, and you see that it shows here on the leaderboard. That's crazy. If they're able to replicate that tomorrow, it's going to be fantastic. They're going to be able to hold on to the top 5, potentially contest, you know, 4th and so forth.
I think the one thing we came into today hoping that we would see is that middle of the pack teams, a couple of those teams start to kind of find their footing.
Those engines.
Exactly, and start kind of catching up to the leaders at the pack, and it's definitely happened. It's setting us up for a really fun last day of this tournament.
That's one of those things when you talk about the race for first, it's tough when you're in the lead to see what everyone's doing behind. They're watching you and they're adjusting for the leaders, and we saw a bit of a fall off as 17 definitely left, I'd say left the door open, but it was very big. So we're going to have a chance to check in with some of our top teams. Sam is standing by with Overpeakers to hear about the success they had today.
Thank you so much, Toughies. I am here with Clib from Overpeakers. They did have a really good day. You climbed right on up the leaderboard. Maybe the dark horse in the competition, Clib, now. Lots of people watching you. How would you describe your team's style of PUBG? Because if I'm honest, I would use the term troll.
I think our style of PUBG is like all over the place. We just play to have fun right now and just like do whatever we want. So all over the place is the answer.
All over the place, but I mean, you have done a bit of prep for the grand finals, right?
A tiny bit. Just see what people loot and like what we can get. That's all the prep we did.
I think he's lying, but it's fine. We'll move on. You were a team that we knew were always looting in Pachinki and Picardo, but that's changed up for PGL. How has that impacted your performance?
I mean, Picardo and Pachinki is like easy mode, so it would have made us win the tournament for free, just like 17 is right now, so yeah.
That was my next question. I was going to say, do you think 17 is so dominant because that's where they're looting?
100%. But they are playing really well, but it definitely helps.
Why do you think they play so well, though? What is it about 17 that allows them to just be consistently good, other than the losing spots?
I think in gunfights they're really good. They have like 2 really good AR players, and that just wins every fight, basically.
Which is the best region in PUBG, and why is it EMEA?
That's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is. There we go. Get off the stage, Club. Thank you so much for chatting to us. They're just having a good time. That's what they say. I think they're lying. I think they go back to their rooms every night and prep. But here he is, top of the leaderboard. You've got this going into the final day of grand finals. Batulins from Twisted Minds just able to take 17 Gaming down a little bit. Talking about 17 Gaming, though. So the desk called it an arm wrestle. I thought it was a measuring contest of a different appendage, but you had this early fight on one of the Erangels with 17. Why'd you waste so many resources there? Was that really necessary?
I mean, you can see that the lobby kind of giving out of points to 17, so we were the team that had to stop it, and we stopped it. Now we're the first, and they are the second, I guess. And let's hope that tomorrow we're gonna win it all. So yeah, sorry 17, sorry.
I mean, I thought it was a bit cheeky, but it is what it is. You did that. You're now at the top. What is it about 17? I mean, I just asked Clib from Overpeakers. I'll ask you as well. What is it about 17 Gaming's style of play that makes them so dominant? And before you say they just get lucky with circles, because I know you players, you like to say that, there's lots of other teams that got circles, and they're not as lucky. So what is it about 17 that makes them that strong?
I would say that, first of all, I love that they're playing very fast. It's not like the usual style of Chinese teams. Yeah, they usually love to fight, and as you remember, New Happy was one of the most, like, the slowest team when they were winning previous PGC. And now they're playing very fast, and it helps them a lot. We're also playing very fast, so that's why we usually see each other. Also, they are still the Chinese team, so they're playing fast, and they're killing everyone on the server, and that's what they know how to do. So, of course, they are dominant because of it, but we're better.
He says they're better. You're better today. 5 more games left. As a team, how important is it, and what would it mean to you and your teammates to win the PUBG Global Championship 2022?
Everything. I don't know, like the biggest goal ever, I guess, for a PUBG player to win the Global Championship. So I think we are ready for it. So let's hope we're gonna deserve it tomorrow, and you will see our crown, like how we're gonna get this win. So yeah.
Batulins, thank you so much. I'm gonna let you head off and get some rest. Well done today, top of the leaderboard. Let's see how it goes for
Чё, какая-то награда победителей? Кто выиграл? Чё вообще происходит, блядь? Висты победили, нет?
And it's really interesting. I have had the opportunity now to chat to both 17 Gaming and Twisted Minds twice each during the grand finals. I will chat to one of those teams, I'm sure, one more time tomorrow. Or maybe there's an upset and it's another team. But this is it. We're moving into the final 5 games of the PUBG Global Championship 2022. We are going to be crowning a brand new champion tomorrow right here on this stage. I know you're going to be there with me. We're going to be cheering them on. So get ready, get prepped, because tomorrow we crown our new champion.
Yo. I don't think they're ready for it. On the loose, on the loose, on the loose, on the loose.
Чего, блядь? Завтра в час финал, 4-й день. Да. Завтра в час финал. Ребят, завтра в час финал. Суперфинал, я так понимаю, завтра в час, 4-й день. Пу-пу-пу. Как-то так.